Thought that after the war the Nazis vanished without the history books, they tell of their defeat in 45. They all came out of the woodwork on the day the Nazi died. They say the prisoner of Spandau was a symbol of defeat. Whilst Hess remained in prison, then the fascists they would beat. So the promise of an Aryan world would never materialize. So why did they all come out of the woodwork on the day the Nazi died? The world is riddled with maggots, the maggots are getting fat. They're making a tasty meal of all the bosses and bureaucrats. They're taking over the boardrooms and they're fat and full of pride. And they all came out of the woodwork on the day the Nazi died. So if you meet with these historians, I'll tell you what to say. Tell them that the Nazis never really went away. They're out there burning houses down and peddling racist lies. And we'll never rest again until every Nazi dies.
Woke up one morning and there were soldiers. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Woke up one morning and there were soldiers. The invasion had begun. Lend me your shoulder, we'll stand together. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Lend me your shoulder, we'll stand together. But I feel my time has come, and if I die here for the resistance, oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. And if I die here for the resistance, you must lay me in my grave among the flowers upon the mountain. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Among the flowers upon the mountain, let me rest among the brave. Someday the people will pick the flowers. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Someday the people will pick the flowers, and they will remember my name. This is the flower of the resistance. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. This is the flower of the resistance, and those who died for liberty. This is the flower of the resistance. Oh, bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. This is the flower of the resistance, and those who died for liberty. This is the flower of our resistance, and those who died for liberty.
Come all of you good workers, good news to you I'll tell of how the good old Union has come in here to dwell.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
My daddy was a miner and I'm a miner's son, and I'll stick with the Union till every battle's won.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
They say in Harlan County there are no neutrals there. You'll either be a Union man or a thug for J.H. Blair.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Oh, workers, can you stand it? Oh, tell me how you can. Will you be a lousy scab or will you be a man.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Don't scab for the bosses, don't listen to their lies. Us poor folks haven't got a chance unless we organize.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
I was born in the Dublin street where the lion drums do beat, and the lovely English people walked all over us. And every single night when they tell, come home tight, he'd invite the neighbours out with this chorus. Come out, you black and tans, come out and fight me like a man. Show your wife how you won medals down in Flanders. Tell her how the IRA made you run like Galloway from the green and lovely lace of Gilshandra. Come tell us how you slew them old Arabs 2 by 2. Like the Zulus say had nice bows and arrows. Of how bravely you faced one with your 16-pounder gun. And you frightened all the natives to the marrow. Come out, you black and tans, come out and fight me like a man. Show your wife how you won medals down in Flanders. Tell her how the IRA made you run like Galloway from the green and lovely lakes of Gilshandra. Come let us hear you tell how you stand the brave Parnell and taught them well and truly persecuted. Where are the stares and jeers that you proudly let us hear when our heroes of 16 were executed? Come out, you black and tans, come out and fight me like a man. Show your wife how you won medals down in Flanders. Tell her how the IRA made you run like Galloway from the green and lovely lakes of Gilshandra.
Hello there, you filthy perverts. How are we all? I am alive, but I do wonder why sometimes. You join me from a slightly less sweaty but still a bit sweaty island. I'm Kevin Logan, obviously, and yes, you yeah, it's Sunday, isn't it? So, obviously, being godless leftists, we don't actually go and praise the Lord. We're going to worship on the altar of award-winning journalism, as always. You're coming out like the black and tans and getting a tan. That is an unfortunate use of that phrase, but yes, I guess I am getting a tan. The filthiest ones are the ones that shower, in my opinion. Just saying. The Art of the Elastico. What the fuck is that, Google? Lot of bollocks. You're just making stuff up now. Fuck off. Okie dokie. Yeah, we're doing award-winning journalism because obviously, what else are we going to do? Something productive and worthwhile with our time. You're joking. You know what channel this is? Ooh, crazy. Yes. What is this? Allow. Is it going to do this thing? I don't know what it's. Yeah, use microphone. Allow while visiting this site. You fucking prick. God, I hate the world. How have we all been on this on that Sunday? How have we all been, chat? Chat! Are you listening? Wait, my eyes are up here. Are we doing well? There's been more football because there's always more football. Always. There hasn't been any cricket though, so we won't even talk about it. It's fine. Yes. Thank you, Carl Brown, for gifting a membership. Much love to you, my friend. A house Martin couple has made a nest above my front door. Oh, that's cool, 255. Keep us up to date with the Burb-related news area. Oi, oi, thanks for the raid last night, Kev. David Lloyd George can fuck off. True. I don't know what that's necessarily in reference to, but he can fuck off, yes. Although, interestingly, he's the only British Prime Minister whose first language wasn't English. His first language was Welsh. But he was also a warmonger and a piece of shit and so on. Yes. Anywho. Enough of this nonsense. Oh, thank you, Carl Brown, for another gifting. Much love to you. Much love to you.
Good evening, Kevin.
It's Posh Bird hours. Let's go.
I'm sorry?
I said it's Posh Bird hours.
It is Posh Bird Hours. It's very true. I'm looking extra posh today, just for you, and you can't see me.
Well, you was about to say you've made all that effort for no reason, really, because that is...
Literally.
I cannot see you, yes. Are you on
I
camera
was
at
just-
your end, or is it too still...
I am indeed, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, not for no reason then, chat. Enjoy that poshedness.
Thing is, as well, is that I was just going with my chat here, and I'm wondering what your opinion is on this. Are you looking forward to being told for the next 2.5 hours that we absolutely must cut welfare to fund defence?
I'm looking forward to it with bated breath and with girded loins, yes.
That's what we'll have to see.
Yeah, the media establishment, the kind of the blob, as it were, have decided that is the only policy that has to happen.
Yeah.
Even though there's no mandate from anyone for that at all, either Keith or Keith or anyone. No one has a mandate for that, but that has to happen because reasons.
We've been told that it must. Our consent has been manufactured.
Indeed so, indeed so. And as that's the only manufacturing this country even fucking does anymore, it would be remiss of us not to do it, I think.
That is the entire manufacturing sector.
Yeah. Yeah, when Keith said he was going to come up with an industrial strategy, he meant an increase in manufacturing of consent, I think.
Very true.
Which is fair enough, you know. Anyway, how have you been?
Yeah, pretty good. Played some Magic, had some food. Now I'm here to play do some streaming.
Good. We were.
I think I was going to stream yesterday, and the combination of me being literally, it was so hot yesterday, I couldn't bear it. And when it got to like 9:45, it's like still too hot for me to stream. And it helps that there was literally no news yesterday, so I didn't have to bother. There's nothing to talk about anyway.
Fair enough, yeah. Yeah, that's fair enough. I did the question time yesterday. Absolute waste of time, to be honest.
It was shit, wasn't it?
It was absolutely atrocious. I don't know why they bothered. Although it was funny to see Zia Yusuf try and pull off the flex of, actually, I did try and stand and my party blocked me. Na. Was quite funny.
Is it because I is brown?
Also, like, is there a more brain-rotted person than Zia Yusuf? Because he thinks you can just act like a Twitter troll in real life, and that won't make you look like a cunt in front of everyone.
Yeah, I know, right? Although what I will say is there was a couple of points where he was literally the only person who had a consistent position, and it was infuriating because it meant I had to agree with Zia Yusuf on something, which was, God, I really feel bad.
Yeah, it's not ideal. It's not ideal. Yeah, and we won't talk about Test cricket. It doesn't exist. It's for losers. So
likewise, neither does Ben Stokes' career.
We won't talk about it. It's not even happening, so it's fine. Whatever. Let's just have no good players ever.
Wonder what's happening in the knockout matches. It's 0-0. I've missed nothing.
Lionel Messi set a new record as the only player in World Cup history to miss 3 penalties, excluding shootouts.
He did. He did do that. He also became the World Cup record goal scorer and became the first person to score in 7 World Cup games in a row.
Which is a bit mental, because that's all very good, but also a little bit bad, but also very good. And he's very old. And still very short. But also probably the best player ever. But, you know.
Do you know? This is a really interesting fact that I just found out, Kev. Did you know that there is a political split in terms of people who think that Lionel Messi is the best footballer of all time and those who think that Cristiano Ronaldo is the best footballer of all time?
Oh yeah, rightoids love Ronaldo because he's a rapist.
I mean, that's basically true. But it's also interesting that, like, there's also an intelligence gap here, and I'm like, yeah, of course there is.
Well, yeah, exactly.
The confounding factor here is left-wing viewpoints, right? Like, the reason why intelligent people like Lionel Messi is because left-wing people like Lionel Messi, and left-wing people are intelligent.
Yeah, exactly. And also he's left-footed, so, I mean, yeah, makes sense, I guess.
Well, there we go.
Yeah.
There we go. Thank you, Henry 8th Fake, for the 50 gifties. That's incredibly generous. And thank you, Ron Last, for the 20 gifties. Also very generous. Thank you both.
Which means you now have to do the equal on our channel. Otherwise, what you've done there is fascism.
No. 50 gifties is full communism.
Yeah, but if it's not spread equally across both of our platforms, then it's fascism. So, just saying, not to guilt trip you or anything, but you are literally
is it Blairism, choosing winners with government contracts?
Literally, you are doing cronyism. You're basically Keir Starmer, but with probably considerably more riz, because like it would be impossible to have less.
There was incredible like Rachel Sylvester article in the Guardian today, or it might have been the Observer, sorry, because it's a Sunday, and she was like, yeah, no one can tell why Keir Starmer is so hated, but I think it's because he doesn't have a real political project. And I'm just like, I think it's probably the fact that he appointed the best pal of a man who raped kids and also sold weapons to exterminate children, which we now know is a thing that definitely did happen from the United Nations. So, yeah, maybe it's that. Maybe it's those things.
Talking of Guardian articles, did we see... I mean, honestly, I love it when they bring out the old classics. You don't want any of the new material. You want the old bangers, don't you? And, is that sharing with you? There we go.
Yeah.
It's for some reason it's not sharing on my end, and I don't know why. It's very annoying. There we go. Yes, Polly Toynbee writing the same article that she has written for the past 50 fucking years, basically saying we should definitely support the fucking amoral piece of shit centrist garbage bag that the Labour Party have put forward, because it'll be totally different this time, guys. Honest.
Well, it's incredible. Like, also I saw about Rachel Sylvester from The Observer. She literally wrote an article in 2024 about Keir Starmer would be engaging in quiet radicalism, and I was just like, well, in terms of like the actual policy, or the fact that we'd like radically shit and like extraordinarily hated,
or that radicalism is extraordinarily quiet. It's nice, isn't it? The extreme quiet.
Literally. It is funny that there's Brendan May in the replies of this, talking about how like she'll change her mind on him once he's been in office, basically. And I was like, okay, that's true. That is a good point. She will have lamented the failure of Burnham after 2 years. But Brendan May, you were like an avid, like staunch Starmer supporter. You were actually a card-carrying member of the Starmer Abteilung. And then as soon as Starmer got into office, you then realised he was shit and started hating him. And I'm just like, what you're doing there, Brendan, is describing yourself. That's you, that is. You are that person.
That's you, that is. Indeed.
Just, again, all of these people just continually do actually once this guy gets into office, he'll be really good, and then they get into office and they're shit, right? They all do this. They're in no position to criticise. We all concluded that Keir Starmer was definitely going to be shit well before everybody else did, because we're Twitter shitposters and not professional journalists.
But the thing is, right, how wrong does a person have to be so consistently and never learn anything before they lose their job if they're posh?
Literally.
Like, it's impossible. This person has written, like I say, the same article, and the same article has been wrong every single fucking time, and yet she continues to be employed because her dad was a massive journalist as well.
Yep.
So
yep.
that's...
never ask a woman her age, a man his salary, or a Guardian journalist why their parents' names are blue on Wikipedia.
Literally. Oh. Anyway. We, obviously, as godless heathens, are not going to church today, but we do praise at the altar of the High Queen of award-winning journalism. But unfortunately, she was unavailable, so they got an actual journalist in today. Vicky Derbyshire, who will probably still manufacture consent because she's still a fucking journalist, but at least is passable. And also, very tradwife today. Okay. Just noticed that.
It's quite tradwife, isn't it?
Also, okay, James Cleverly looks like he might not be wearing trousers. I assume he probably is. They're just coloured similarly to him, but like, it looks like he might actually not have trousers on. And you know what?
Coloured, Kevin, you can't say that.
I can. He's a person of coloured jeans. That works on 2 levels. You can't technically cancel me for it.
Moving in, Andy Burnham's on course to be the next Prime Minister, the 7th in just a decade. Moving out, Sir Keir Starmer after just 2 years in the top
LOL.
job. Will the change at the top turn around Labour's fortunes? And what do we know about Andy Burnham's plans for Britain? With me today, Andy Burnham's friend and ally, Labour's deputy
Also, by
leader.
pause. I was going to do like a full segment on it tomorrow, but whilst we're here, you know that picture they just showed of Andy Burnham taking a selfie?
Yeah.
Literally everyone on Threads lost their minds. There are whole entire groups of people, like genuinely like hundreds and thousands of likes sometimes on these posts. Not hundreds of thousands, hundreds or thousands of likes. Sorry, on these posts, right? Of people going, I can't believe Andy Burnham would just waltz in here and take a selfie with the MPs on the somber day of Keir Starmer's resignation. I didn't know, and then I went on there and found them, and I genuinely couldn't believe what was happening. Like,
Did they think that
it's just a fucking selfie? That's what it is.
Like, I mean, firstly, they all do that. Whenever a new person gets in, they all do a big, like, oh, look, see, I'm one of the people. Oh, I'm important. That bit, right? And also, like, did you expect the entire workings of government to just stop because Keir Starmer was sad? Like, no, Parliament was still sitting. It's still a business day, lads. You still have to do things. It's fine. Keir Starmer isn't the king, you know.
Yeah, and also Andy Burnham, he's happy to be back in Westminster after all these years. You know, I don't like the guy, but give him some room. You know, it's just a selfie. It's fine.
Look, would he have done?
They genuinely thought that he was dancing on Keir Starmer's grave. Honestly, you know, if
Good.
Keir Starmer had died, I would have also done the same. You know, but that's not what he was doing.
For legal reasons, I can't say what I would do to Keir Starmer's grave if he were dead. But dancing on it would be, by comparison, complimentary.
I mean, as it's gender neutral, is that technically illegal now because of the new guidance?
That's true. I would have to get my dick checked at the door in order to be able to urinate upon his casket. Yes.
Lucy Powell. And Sir Keir Starmer's friend and ally, Housing Secretary Steve Reed, is here, along with his...
Like, he has to be gone. Steve Reed has to be gone from the new cabinet, right? There's no way. Surely he can't survive.
Yeah, he's just... he's just so fucking rancid. I hate him so much.
Yeah.
Opposite number for the Conservatives, Sir James Cleverly. And former Chief of the Defence Staff, Admiral Sir Tony Radakan, shares with Laura his advice for the new Prime Minister.
Get ready for the manufacturing consent machine to overheat.
It is keep our country safe, acknowledge that you have this extraordinary responsibility, so you're almost like a wartime Prime Minister at the moment.
Almost like... Hang on, that's doing a lot of lifting there, chap. Almost like a wartime leader. Do you mean not a wartime leader because we're not at war?
Yeah, I fucking hate this shit. Like, we are... I mean, I guess there's like a proxy conflict in Ukraine that we do on one side of, but no, we are not at war. We just aren't. Unless, of course, you're admitting that actually we have very much been assisting the United States in invading Iran, you know, RAF or whatever, or we have been assisting Israel in Gaza from like RAF Akrotiri. Do you want to admit these things? Either admit these things are direct involvement, or say we aren't in a war. Only one of these things can be true.
Well, I almost think this person shouldn't be put in a gulag. Almost.
So as well as having the Makerfield test, I would say it's the Moscow test.
Oh, fucking kill me in Minecraft. What the fuck is that? There needs to be a Moscow test. I think you need to be put in a catapult test, you cunt. The fuck is wrong with you?
And again, there's just so much of this is just, as far as I can see, saber rattling from people who want government contracts.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly, yeah. This person is speaking on behalf of fucking Raytheon and BAE Systems. He's not speaking for the fucking country. It's ridiculous.
100%. And that's the thing, because we just continually hear it over and over and over and over and over again. Like, every single media outlet, every single mainstream media out there, constantly getting people on screen or whatever it is, to say we definitely... Well, then that was a time last year where a bunch of people, military brass around, saying we're in a pre-war world now. There's going to definitely be a war that we're definitely going to be in, so we have to spend more now because it's a pre-war world. What was their justification for this? They didn't have any. No justification. Just there's going to be a war and we're definitely going to be attacked, so we need to spend money on defense. I'm like, we are a nuclear-armed island nation. What the fuck we don't?
Yeah. Also, it's good that he's mouthing this still, is puckering like an anus, given that he's talking so much shit.
What do we look like to Moscow?
And our
I don't fucking care. Next.
panel this morning. Broadcaster.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Zia Yusuf has a season ticket past the question time, and this fucking bloated, dead kid phone hacker has a fucking season ticket pass to this show. He's always on it, and he's a cunt.
I'm really sick of seeing this guy on my stream.
Like, he's a fucking YouTuber, and he's not even a good one.
Can we petition to get Helena No Justice MTG on BBC Laura Koonsberg?
Or H-Bomber guy. He could do a 7-hour bit about something. It'd take him 3 years, but he'd do it.
I mean, to be fair, like, the BBC are actively engaging more in, like, YouTube and things like that. Like, BBC News upload probably, like, eight videos a day now to their channel. I've noticed that they have a massive uptick in the number of things that they now put on YouTube specifically. I'm like, if you want to reach out to the younger generations, have somebody who still has all of their kind of their genes intact, you know?
Well, we saw James Cleverly had his genes intact.
Very true. It's like anybody under the age of 40, please.
Yeah. And I am just that now. Just. So that would also count. Isn't H-Bomber guy quietly a pro-Israel lib? I have no idea, chat. Is that a thing?
I don't know. I mean, he's in America now anyway, so...
Oh, is he? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Basically moved to America to do something and then got stuck there.
As you do.
Which is the opposite of what most people are finding about America at the moment.
Yeah, yeah. But to be fair, he is white and rich, so...
That is true. He is both of those things.
Secretary of the Shop Workers Union USDOR, Joanne Thomas, and former chair of John Lewis, Baroness Sharon White.
No, not jeans with a G, with a J. Come on, chat. Do you expect me to play silly word games with double meanings? That's totally not what I do here, okay? Thank you.
Hello, good morning. Here are some of the stories on the websites and front pages today. The Sunday Mirror says Andy Burnham wants to give more power to mayors. The Sunday Telegraph says one of his...
Okay, but every single person before they become Prime Minister says we're going to devolve powers, and then gets in and wants to centralise powers. Every single one of them does this.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they used to think, well, biggest, devolving power to the nations and regions, and then they tried to make, they tried to take away the right of us to have our own, local authorities on, borough or district lines, to make these, mega councils. They also then got rid of police and crime commissioners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, yeah, so, we'll wait and see. As is the problem with the fact that he has a totally 100% unelected Prime Minister coming in, is that he has no test whatsoever. We don't know what he stands for or what he plans to do. Which is very convenient, because then he can't break any promises.
Yeah.
Yay.
Key allies, former Cabinet Minister Lou Haig wants a fundamental redesign of the tax system.
Who's now been allowed back into the sort of inner circle of Labour because she's had the melon cat hair put on.
This is true. She's literally what I've now apparently been seen. It's supposed to be called the Fabian helmet.
Yeah, that's a pretty good name for it. Yeah, because you remember when she had red hair and pronouns in bio? Terrible. Far too radical a hairstyle. Now she's dialed it back. She's got the helmet.
She looks so much worse.
It looks awful.
It's such a giant like such a glow down.
Yeah.
Honestly, just so depressing, the shit that happens to women when they get into politics.
Yeah.
Sunday Times says Andy Burnham signed off on government plans to spend more money on drones rather than destroyers and frigates. The Sun on Sunday reports on messages Cabinet Office Minister Nick Thomas-Symonds.
Okay, I'd like to point out, by the way, Kevin, the youngest person on this show today is 47. There's one person who's 51, and the rest are all in their 60s. And they wonder, why aren't young people interested in politics anymore?
Yeah, it's a bit silly. But you know what they're going to do? They'll just get on like fucking Asmongold or something. They'll just get on some weird fascist YouTube.
Yeah, like when they did like a young person's question time special, the singular young person they got on the show was Tommy in it. Who just makes like
video game stuff, doesn't he?
Yeah, he makes Minecraft. It's fine. Minecraft, like making Minecraft YouTube videos is literally fine. But he was the only person, literally the only person on BBC Question Time. Let me find out. Let me find the young person's lineup on Question Time. Let me find it.
Yeah. True, you young people do engage in student politics. That is true. They have what I like to call flea tendencies. Yes, certainly.
I mean, it was funny to see the fleas get shaken off when all of the Starmerites decided to eject themselves from
the Labour Party. Yeah. So now there are like 6 people left in the Labour Party, I think.
I mean, it's going to be very funny when they are forced to release their membership numbers during the leadership election.
Yeah. Although we expect them to do some sort of weird Stalinist thing where they just add zeros to the end.
So okay. This is the lineup that they had. This is the lineup for the Question Time they had for young people. So a political show about young people for the first time basically ever. They had a screenwriter, a head teacher, a YouTuber who doesn't make political videos, Lord Willits, who looks fucking ancient, and Peter Kyle, who is literally the dumbest man in Westminster. None of these are young people apart from Tommy Innit, and Tommy Innit knows fuck all about politics. Again, like, they are desperate for young people to get into politics, and maybe they just aren't. Maybe they deliberately made sure that they did it in a way that young people wouldn't get engaged. But when you look at the panel here, supposedly about young people, when you look at the fact that when the Tories had like a young Tory representative in Parliament, it was like Andrew Bowie, who's like in his 40s. It was the six-chip Tory twat.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Scottish Tory six-chip twat. That's the full phrase, right? And there's just no access to young people at all. And the programme we're watching today, the youngest person out of 8 people involved in the show is 47. Why? Why would young people get interested in...
Well, this is the thing. They're not interested in getting young people into politics. They're interested in pretending to fulfil their public service remit of applying it to young people as well.
And on top of this, they don't think that young people should get involved in politics, but they do feel like they should dictate what our needs are to us.
Yes.
So when we had this conversation about like young people not in education, employment, and training, that like it was a new thing when these numbers have been high for the last like 15 years. And at no point did they invite any young people on to like speak about it. I mean, Alan Milburn did, for all it's worth, right? I was very skeptical about Alan Milburn to be able to do these things rationally, but he actually spoke to them in earnest, and they told him that it was actually about living conditions why they were depressed, and it wasn't just because they were, soft, like all the boomers tried to pretend that they were. And what was the response from this, from everybody else? Just cut welfare.
Yeah.
Just do we have to do welfare
Right-wing
cuts?
bollocks.
The entire political system had a very open report showing that young people have mental health problems because wages are shit, living conditions are expensive, you can't get on the housing ladder, there's no prospects, the climate is collapsing, and the Nazis are back, right? A massive maelstrom, a cavalcade of all these different, like, once-in-a-lifetime problems all happening concurrently. And their response was, cancel social media and cut welfare and tell them to toughen up, which was explicitly the opposite of what Alan Milburn even said in the review, that actually these people are incredibly strong because of the confluence of things happening at the moment, and the fact that people won't listen to them is an absolute damning indictment. They've been failed. They have been failed. Young people have been failed, and no one fucking cares what we think.
Yeah. And fucking Hollinrake on Question Time was amazing with it. They were like, oh, so what things are you going to cut welfare for? And he was just listed off things like ADHD. Which
Or he did the
can
same
be
lies he always does.
a phenomenal, like, debilitating thing for certain people. And you're like, no, that's pretend because I can't see it. So, fine. No, you just die.
Well, again, when he's just lying, like he was just lying on the show because people say things like, Kevin Hollinrake when he was on Question Time specifically said we shouldn't be giving out PIP to people who have low-level mental health conditions, basically, was his justification. And first of all, it's worth pointing out that PIP doesn't actually get applied to people based upon their condition. People do not get PIP for low-level mental health conditions because you have to go through a checklist of your daily living needs. And if you don't score highly enough, i.e. that your living needs are impacted to the heavy enough degree that it does impact your daily living to be able to qualify for PIP in the first place. If you don't score highly on that particular questionnaire, you don't qualify for PIP, meaning that it already filters out everybody with low-level problems anyway, because they wouldn't achieve the threshold. Because it's not done based upon the condition, it's done based upon how your daily living needs are impacted by the condition that you have. So he lied about that. And the second thing he lied about is he said these people would be better off in work. They are in work. PIP is not a benefit. PIP is not a benefit with a work requirement. People get PIP because of the condition that they have, not to help them because they can't find employment. It is because their needs, in terms of what they need to spend money on, are higher than everybody else's because of their condition. And it's a way of leveling the playing field within that regard.
Yes.
And you need that extra money, whether you get paid or not. Otherwise, your salary is just the amount of PIP lower than everybody else's because you're spending that money on extra reasonable adjustments to make sure that you can live.
Yes, indeed so.
To a female MP. A Cabinet Office spokesperson said the propriety and ethics team looked into an exchange of messages with a single individual. No evidence of improper behaviour was found and no further action taken. The Independent on Sunday says this week's heatwave should be a wake-up call and Britain needs to prepare for a Mediterranean climate.
Oh, right, so there's literally nothing we can do about it at all. We shouldn't change, we should just adapt.
Buy aircon. Only solution, mate, buy aircon. That's what we've been told now.
Well, no, because it's de facto illegal.
Yeah, apparently, despite
yeah.
millions of units being installed and you can pick it up at Aldi.
Yeah, like, but Zia Yusuf said it, so it must be true. You wouldn't let someone on TV repeatedly who just lies all the time about fucking everything, would you? Yeah. Also, maybe the people we have in prison for trying to warn us about all of this maybe shouldn't be in prison. But also be good. Doesn't affect the climate, but would be justice nonetheless.
It is. I mean, there'd be no justice currently, but
No justice.
It is kind of excruciating. It is kind of excruciating that we had people locked up for warning us about climate change, and then we are experiencing literally the hottest June ever recorded, where we broke the June record temperature, 3 days concurrently. So Wednesday was the hottest June day ever, and then Thursday was even hotter than that, and Friday was even hotter than that. That's how bad climate change is, and we just locked people up for trying to tell us that this was a problem. And then we also arrested thousands of people for warning us that Israel was committing genocide in Gaza. And then last week, the United Nations had a committee that said that there was a genocide happening in Gaza, specifically because of the levels to which that Israel was targeting children. So, yeah, actually, warnings about this mass extermination campaign against children means that you have to get sent to prison. Funny how it's those two specific things that we were being warned about that definitely did happen that people get locked up for.
Also, with the heat wave, I do have to say this. All of this, the nonsense about, it was hot in 1976. Firstly, people look back with rose-tinted glasses. People were affected massively, and lots of people died. Secondly, what makes this definitely worse is that in 1976 you didn't have to put up with old cunts on the internet fucking whinging about how it was hot 50 years prior, which is a lovely, horrific alloy to the already shit situation. Shut the fuck up, boomers. Fuck off and die. I've said my piece.
And the BBC's website looks at the resignation of Scotland coach Steve Clarke after their exit from...
He got his tactics wrong. I'm just going to put it out now. He did a great job getting Scotland to the World Cup. you scored one goal in 3 games, and that's a scuffed
against
effort.
the worst team of the tournament. Yeah.
Yeah, scuffed effort in a 1-0 win against Haiti, a nation that, if it's not being fucking destroyed by natural events, is going through civil wars or American overthrows of its democratically elected governments. I'm sorry, like yeah, that's okay. Bye. You fucked it.
From the World Cup. Obviously, the papers were too late for the news of England's 2-0 victory against Panama last night. They now enter the knockout stage, top of their group.
Just say Jude Bellingham scored 1, made the other. Birmingham City legend. Birmingham's finest. You can thank us later, chat. You can thank us later.
Don't you find it weird, Kevin, that that we've just had weird where the first half have gone like, you know, fine, and the second half, like, immediately everything's just kind of changed. Is Thomas Tuchel just like the most well-adapted person ever in that he just sees everything that goes wrong in the first half, speaks to the team, and the second half happens and everything is fixed?
Well, I mean, first, you could argue that he sets his team out wrong to begin with.
Yeah.
That is another negative way of looking at it, I suppose. But we've been so conditioned under Gareth Southgate for nothing to ever change. Once a pattern of a game is established, he doesn't change anything, even if it's going very badly. Having a manager who is proactive and changes things in order to make things work better seems like a crazy foreign concept rather than literally the point of having a manager anyway. You know?
What was funny is that it went weird it looked like he was trying to put things wrong in the other games, right? So players that didn't perform or performed well after being subbed on then started the next game, and then as soon as they started the game they played badly, right? Because I remember in the first 2 games Madueke on the wings was rubbish.
Yeah.
Like,
well, he's playing him on the wrong wing. He's playing him. He's obsessed with putting left footers on the right wing and right footers on the left wing. It doesn't make sense. You can't.
But like he had Madueke on the right wing against like Ghana and Croatia, and on the starting 11, and he would just like run into people and get dispossessed. And then suddenly Madueke came on as a substitute against Panama, and I felt like he was like dominating the ball. I didn't know what was like. Saka was like again really good when he got subbed on in the first 2 games. Started this game and then just didn't make anything. Again, just got dispossessed all the time.
What you should do?
What's going on? What is going on?
Start with a reserve team and then instantly make 11 substitutions, because you're probably allowed to now, given the number they have. And then we'll just be really good, because they'll all be substitutes and they'll play really well for 89.5 minutes. Yeah, I'm very much here for it. Also, we've been given a plum draw. Jesus Christ. We've got the Democratic Republic of Congo in the next round, who are not great. Yohan Biz is a good striker, but that's about it, really. Then in the round after that, is it something like Ecuador or
Mexico?
Ecuador or Mexico, which, I mean, Mexico are a host nation, so, like, okay, that could be tricky, I guess, but you'd still fancy us. And then in the quarterfinals, it would be Brazil, probably. Which, again, Brazil are tricky, but they're not a classic Brazil. I'm sorry, Rafinha would be a bench player in the classic teams, and Vinicius Junior is the most overrated player on the planet. And Casemiro literally looks like he might as well be in a pensioner's home. Fat, old, and slow.
I mean, yeah, you saw them against Morocco. It wasn't good.
It wasn't good. They're not a good team. They're just not a good team. I don't know how you can have a nation of 250 soccer-obsessed lunatics and come up with all of these players who can't play football. It doesn't make sense to me, but there we go.
It's not like a 2014 where they just had a team full of good players that just played fucking abysmally for no reason. It's just not a good team anymore. And on the other side of the bracket, like to go to the semi-finals, it's probably it's the Argentina, because it's like Argentina, Cabo Verde, Australia, Egypt, Switzerland, Algeria, Colombia, Ghana. So actually, yeah, if we beat Brazil, like the semi-final is almost certainly Argentina. I don't think anyone else there is winning any of those games other than Argentina.
No, Cabo Verde. I'm plucking it now. Cabo Verde are going to go all the way to the final and win. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be the shock of all shocks.
I mean, if they beat Argentina, it's not. It might be in the semi-final.
They won't beat Argentina. I'm just going to say that right now.
Argentina are going to win the tournament.
I don't think they are. I think they're a little bit overrated. They're still pretty good, but if you're relying on a 38-year-old lad up front, still very good, but like he's playing in America. Look, there are like 6 teams who can win it, of which England are one, and Argentina are another.
That's
but
true.
really, look, if you look at this, France in many respects are a little bit overblessed with players because they've got players on their bench that would start for virtually any other team.
That is true.
They are
It looks like one of the most open World Cups we've seen in years.
Yeah, true. But ultimately, it depends on how you deal with the conditions. Really, because like it's the same with England every time. We're not used to playing in, sweltering jungle conditions or whatever. Actually, there aren't any jungles in these places, but you know what I mean, like deserts and shit. Like you're trained to do it on a Tuesday night in Stoke when it's fucking freezing cold and pissing down with rain, not in the sweltering fucking heat of Mexico City. You know,
That's true.
So my first thoughts are, right, does it excite me? No. Do I enjoy it? No. But it's job done. We're through the group stage.
how are Cabo Verde in the World Cup and Italy aren't? Because Italy are shit. Italy, but I've heard a lot of discussion about it. It's wank, right? It's a World Cup. You should have lots of teams from all of the different continents. Italy are a big enough nation that if you fail to qualify for 3 successive World Cups, you've deserved it. This is a pattern now. Italy are shit. Game over.
I mean, they were bad against Bosnia. And Bosnia were good against them.
Yeah.
But for a more kind of well-rounded answer, the way you qualify for the World Cup is through regional World Cup qualifiers. Like Europe do get a lot of qualification slots because there are a lot of European teams with lots of pedigree, and like most of the European teams would beat the team that wins like the Oceanic qualifier, but there's only one of them, and it's always New Zealand, right? Because the Tahiti aren't going to beat them.
And Australia are now technically part of Asia. Yes.
Yeah, Australia qualify by the Asian route, which is also very weird. But the reason why Italy didn't qualify is because there was enough European slots. So they played against Bosnia in the last qualifier, and they didn't beat them. They lost on penalties, and that was that.
Yep.
And Cabo Verde can qualify because there are African qualification slots,
yep.
right? So even though Cabo Verde are not as good as most of the European teams, they only had to play against African teams to qualify. And whilst the African teams that are good are actually pretty good, like Senegal and Ghana, most of them aren't good, right? Like, it's not difficult for Cabo Verde to qualify against Burundi or against I don't know, Benin, Togo.
True. Yeah.
We've topped the group. It's as simple as that.
We've done it. We're in. We got what we wanted. We got a favourable draw. We're going all the way.
They can do it. They just have to keep on and on and on.
Football's coming over again. We're telling us to go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Football's coming over again.
We might talk about the football later because I know you stayed up and
What was
watched
they singing? What was the tune they were singing that to?
I can't remember, but it's a famous tune.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really annoying. Yeah. Anyway,
Let's talk about politics first, though, because it's another extraordinary.
Lowrider.
week.
That's what it is.
Yes.
To what Labour has done.
Well, I'm not even sure it's an extraordinary week. I mean, when you have extraordinary week after extraordinary week after extraordinary week and it goes on for 10 years, at what point do we stop calling it extraordinary? We have been a political basket case now since 2016. 7 prime ministers in a decade. I mean, we're just a laughingstock. I think...
Honestly, those are, ironically, genuinely Italian numbers.
We are truly getting into like the Giuseppe Conte, into Silvio Berlusconi, into Giorgia Meloni era. What I will say is that a lot of people are talking about this procession of prime ministers and somehow claiming there is something innately wrong with our country, or there's something innately wrong with the people who vote, as if they expect too much. We're using the word ungovernable very frequently, and I would like to point out that is total bullshit.
Yeah.
That is total bullshit. We're eminently governable. There are plenty of people who can govern in this country. The problem is our political class. People look at 7 prime ministers and then imply that some of these people shouldn't have resigned. I'm like, no, they all should have resigned. They all failed. They were all miserable. They all justifiably got thrown out at the wishes of mostly the voters in terms of low approval and the desire to see them go. Right? Let's go through them. David Cameron didn't want to do Brexit because he campaigned against it, and he only did the referendum to shut people up. and it didn't go well, so he left it for somebody else. Theresa May should have resigned because she tried to do a Brexit that she wanted to be Tory leader to do, even though she didn't believe in it, which was stupid, and then she did terribly at election, so she had to step down. Boris Johnson should have stepped down, obviously, because he was never fit to be Prime Minister in the first place, and he broke the law, and he lied to the Queen, and then he also promoted a guy who was known as Pincher by name, Pincher by nature.
Look, this is outrageous slander. He is a victim of cake-based violence.
An ambush, you know. The Macedonians laid a careful trap in for the Dacians marching on down to Greece. No,
that's so nerdy. Oh no.
I've played lots of Rome Total War. Kevin.
Of course you have. Yeah, go on. Sorry, go on.
But then Liz Truss crashed the economy, killed the Queen. Job done. Job's a good one. And after 40 days, I'd done everything I hoped to achieve, so there's no need for any more. Then Rishi Sunak lost an election because the Tories fucked up the country. And then Keir Starmer implemented policies that nobody wanted, didn't implement policies that he had campaigned on, lied openly to the electorate by inventing a prospectus out of whole cloth, and his own political persona was totally kind of constructed, an absolute kind of simulacrum in terms of what actually it was when it came to him being Prime Minister. Then he armed a genocide, and then he appointed the best pal, the self-described best pal, of a man who raped kids. Yeah, all of these people should have resigned. We are supposed to be the mother of all parliaments. We need better politicians, not better voters.
Yeah, it's not the voters that are actually the problem. It's partly a media ecosystem that reinforces right-wing talking points. Put a pin in that, we will return to it later. And secondly, a series of politicians over the last 50 years have all believed fundamentally the same thing. And that thing is, why don't we sell everything? Just sell everything to rich people and that will be fine. Nothing bad can ever happen because of that. And our country has slid into the shit.
Yep.
You know, it's interesting watching the England fans there in a way that remind me of the jubilation that greeted Sir Keir Starmer's ascent to number 10 with this thumping win at the election.
What jubilation, you dopey cunt? No one liked him.
I mean, this is what's interesting as well, is that he talks about this huge victory, and I'm like, well, it wasn't in terms of vote share, was it? The reality is he is the least liked, the least supported government we've ever had.
Yeah.
Because he got a smaller percentage of the vote than literally, and yeah.
It's literally known as the Loveless landslide, and he's like the jubilation that greeted. What world do you live in, Piers? Honestly, well, Westminster.
He campaigned openly. He openly campaigned for Keir Starmer to be Prime Minister. He invited him on his show to do this whole profile for him, again, with like scant actual like scrutiny, just like, what's your favourite flavour of crisp?
Nothing
which is the
bad
source,
can happen.
apparently,
It can only good
Chris
happen.
Spargo. Like, that was the level of questioning that Piers Morgan entertained Keir Starmer, and his big thing about who's going to be the next Prime Minister, because of course he didn't have any scrutiny in the run-up to being Prime Minister. And yet, as you say, you know, his percentage of the vote, 33%, he got a lower percentage of the vote that David Cameron did in 2010 when he didn't have a majority and had to go into coalition, right? That's how hated Keir Starmer was. That David Cameron also hated Prime Minister, the worst Prime Minister of all time, and he got more votes, a bigger percentage of the vote than Keir Starmer got in the biggest majority Labour have ever had. That's how liked Keir Starmer is. Like, the reality is that there wasn't jubilation. We had, I guess, relief, probably, that the Tory era was over. And then we found somebody who was totally incapable, unsuited, and kind of morally bankrupt for being Prime Minister.
Yeah, exactly. We were happy to get rid of the Tories. And then we looked through the window and we looked from the pigs to the men and the men to the pigs. And we could no longer tell any difference. Yes, I'm a nerd. Thank you.
This was the brave new world. And we looked at him and we said, where's the plan? Turned out he hadn't had one. He had 14 years to think about it, and Labour literally didn't have.
And you, as a big-brained thinky boy who has been editor of newspapers and one of the most sort of high-profile quote-unquote journalists in the country, couldn't work out that he didn't have a plan when two shit-posting dickheads online called No Justice MTG and Kevin Logan worked that out fucking years ago. You fucking twat. It looks like a cake that someone sat on.
Like, literally, we all had this figured out well before time. I mean, it was even found out why. Because, again, there's one thing that Piers is incorrect about here, is that he says they had 14 years. They didn't have 14 years, they had 5 years. Because in the 4 years previously, they spent all of their time fighting Jeremy Corbyn rather than fighting the Tories. In the 5 years in opposition under Ed Miliband, they just copied the Tories in terms of the responsibility that they had to potentially come into government and just do the same policies anyway, right? They both supported austerity. And in the 5 years they had before getting into office in 2024, they spent all of that purging lefties from their own party, creating the green voter base we see now at like 14-15%, and then admitted as such, we thought we had 2 terms in opposition to think of policy, so whoops, don't have any. And then they got into office and thought, we're going to hire Sue Gray to do our policy for us, and didn't tell her that was her job.
Yeah. And then they set up a quango to decide on a commission to decide on whether we should ask Deloitte to come up with the policy.
This is the adults in the room, by the way, Chan. This is the adults in the room as we've never seen them before. Which is funny, because in the run-up to the 2017 and 2019 elections, the student politics unsensible children, right, of the Jeremy Corbyn kind of retinue, had entire policy documents all written, ready to hand to the civil service on day one to be able to implement into policy, to be able to have like a big sea change in terms of the politics in this country. Actual things consulted with experts and people who know things about the fields in accordance with kind of the principles that the Corbyn leadership are kind of put down in terms of the socialism that they wanted to see. And they would have actually been able to do things in the first 100 days that anybody could point back to and say, this is things that were done, which obviously you can't do now. But those are the people who are not the adults in the room. The adults in the room spend all of their time in opposition fighting their own party, get into government, and think that they can just subcontract the role of setting policy to chiefs of staff or advisors or indeed consultancies or to quangos. Genuinely, it's infuriating to me that they have had their fucking arses licked. They have had their fucking holes sniffed for the entirety of the time in opposition by the media, who refused to scrutinise him, including this man on your screen who had Keir Starmer for like hour-long episode to find out who he was, and we get into office and the country's fucked. It's a dereliction of duty, and it shouldn't make me this angry. But I have to live in this country. I have to live around the people who live here. I have to deal with what happens and all of the negative externalities of the failure of this administration. And these people, when these people fail, when these journalists don't do their fucking job, do they get punished? No, they get to swan around going to the Spectator garden party, drinking expensive champagne, getting these audiences with the Prime Minister to relay the latest briefing to be able to manufacture the consent based upon what Downing Street have decided it should be today, and they keep their expensive careers and they get to send their kids to private school, and the rest of us are dealing with the cost of living crisis. It's pathetic.
It really
is. Pathetic.
Now, when you talk about licking and sniffing, I believe that's referred to as pulling a Robert Kenyon.
So true. So true.
I was going to say you've been Kenyoned, but that would have a different connotation potentially, which would be far more problematic, bizarrely. Yeah.
Have a plan. And so they began doing endless ridiculous things, targeting pensioners, targeting farmers, targeting everybody they could possibly think of that would lose them support.
Pause.
And
the disabled? No?
No, just the farmers.
You agree with you agree with cutting welfare for the disabled bits. You agree with cutting their welfare, right? Whereas pensioners, who are, I mean, there's still lots of pensioner poverty, but there's less than in terms of disability. Like, no, their welfare getting cut, and didn't even get cut entirely, which is a means test. They got rectified anyway. No, that is beyond the pale. It's beyond the pale for farmers not to get their giant fucking 100% tax relief. No, they'll get 50% tax relief. So they'll still get a sweetheart deal. They'll still pay far less inheritance tax than everybody else, with a threshold that's much higher and a rate half the level as everybody else, right? But because my farm is my special farm, suddenly paying half the rate of tax as everybody else isn't good enough for these people, right? It's pathetic, these people. And we literally had Zia Yusuf on Question Time saying, oh, well, I can't believe that Keir Starmer can force farmers into killing themselves. If you're killing yourself because your special fucking child's early learning centre, baby's first giant tax relief isn't big enough, right? If you don't want to get if your sweetheart deal isn't good enough, it's causing you to kill yourself, I would like to tell you to get a functioning sense of perspective.
Well, I'll just say no one killed themselves because of this. I'm not suggesting that the tax or whatever or finances weren't a part of this person's decision, but not a single person looks at slight changes to the inheritance tax rules around farms and goes, oh no, I'm going to kill myself now. I would suggest there are much larger issues at play. That is not a decision one takes so lightly.
Quite.
And within 2 years, he's gone. I have no sympathy. like him personally, but I just think as a Prime Minister...
There you go. I can't think of a more damning indictment. Piers Morgan likes the man. Well, that's it then. You should never be Prime Minister. That's a litmus test if I've ever seen one.
Yep.
Utterly useless. Didn't have a plan. Executed what the little plan he did have terribly badly. And we are where we are. And now Labour are in the same position that they have mocked other parties for, of a potential coronation of somebody who's not elected by the public, and they will have completely different ideas to the manifesto that Labour were elected on 2 years ago. And I know we're going to come back to this later, so I won't labour the point of what I think they should do. But there does come a point.
So, okay, so when you say it wasn't in the manifesto, therefore there's no justification for it, Piers, I presume you're not later going to advocate for cutting benefits in order to spend money on the military, because that wasn't in the manifesto either.
Yeah, again, they're very happy for these manifesto commitments to get broken, right? Like, the disabled being consulted and having their interests being at the heart of everything that the Labour Party does was a manifesto commitment. It specifically said, we will put the interests of the disabled at the heart of everything we do. Those are the words in the manifesto, right? You can look them up yourself. And the first thing they did was to try and take these people's benefits away, which is not true. Like, even if you thought that these things were good for the disabled, spoiler alert, they're not. But even if you thought that they were good, at the very least you thought they would be consulted. And yet the disabled asked to be consulted on these issues. And when they did, Liz Kendall said, no, we're not going to ask to until we've done the review already, and then you can like it or lump it, right?
Yeah.
They had, like, the only reason that the Timms review got delayed until they had time to consult with the disability groups is because this vote got lost in the Commons.
Yep, literally.
Point where somebody has to get a grip of this country.
Okay.
Right, we need proper leadership and somebody who has a plan and will stick to it and will make it work.
Okay. Sharon White,
And, like,
damning criticism of...
Like, that's not untrue. It's not untrue that we do actually need politicians who know what the fuck they're doing. He isn't incorrect to state it. But we also need to have journalists and a media system that holds these people accountable, and we don't have one. Because the reason why our politicians have been able to get away with so much shit is because we have a system of access, we have a system of patronage, we have a system with their chummy interests and chummy deals, again, like where these people share drinks in that Spectator Garden Party rather than being actively treated kind of with hostility, being treated as oppositional to our elected class, right? And so none of them get held accountable, so they're allowed to be shit. And like, if there was any reporting, for example, on the level to which the factional selections had been blocked in the Labour Party, you know, we would have the public at large would have a better understanding of why they're having to get in somebody from outside the PLP to come be Prime Minister. Because anyone of any talent got purged specifically to protect Keir Starmer at the start.
Yeah, literally. And not just that we have a media class that are sort of complicit in this, but are actively guiding governments in the wrong direction because the people who own these media establishments are themselves right-wing fucks. It's a disgusting, incestuous gangbang of right-wing shit.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for £5. The noticing begins again, just insulting us all again. These professional politics understanders. They're stealing a living and oxygen. Very, very true.
No, Polly Toynbee knows what she's talking about. And it definitely will be different this time, honest.
Two people that you know well, Keir Starmer and Rachel Reeves. How have you viewed what's happened this week?
I mean, as Keir says,
Keir? Whoa, what did you call me?
As Piers
that was a Freudian slip.
That was one of the most wounding.
Well, you are both white people and wankers. Fat, old, white people wankers. And to be honest, all white people look the same anyway, so...
Things I don't think I've ever been called on national television.
No, I mean, as Piers says, I mean, it's a...
That's because they won't allow me on national television, Piers.
I'll call you Pete.
Let's
go.
Sad situation. Personally, I think it's very, very difficult for the country, but it doesn't change the fundamental need for the country, which is basically we've got to raise long-term living standards. Whether you're in London or Manchester or Newcastle or Edinburgh, the biggest issue we have as a country is that for the last 20 years, people's living standards haven't budged since the financial crisis, and so it's the same job, whether that's more housing, better transport, jobs for our young people. All those things continue to be absolutely critical, and the job now is to make sure as a society we get some of those things done.
Well, Joanne, you have worked with Andy Burnham. You've been on the road campaigning with him. Is he the man to do it? This is a huge gamble, isn't it, for Labour?
Well, I think Andy has certainly shown in Makerfield that he has beat reform. which on the back of the...
You're right, Pitt. It's an outrage. Sorry, I do like a northeast accent.
I mean, it is
that we-
just an absolute, it's a thing of beauty, isn't it?
Beautiful stuff.
seen in May were very bad for Labour. So it's really important that whoever is the leader of the Labour Party and in government, that they can actually beat reform, because I don't think any of us want to have a reform government. But I think,
Well,
Andy,
some people do.
Yeah, Piers Morgan does.
Some people
well,
do.
possibly, but I think certainly in the trade union movement, I would like to think that wouldn't be the case, because it's politics of division. And I think what Andy set out...
Unlike your politics with Labour, you mean?
Well, Andy set out in Makerfield.
Wow. Burn.
I mean, if they're a real Labour Party, it would be the politics of division, but it'd be about the division of Labour.
I see what you've done there.
Basically, that he wanted to see hope and change in politics. And when you were on the campaign train with Andy, you actually felt that.
Okay.
And if you look at the results in Makerfield, he didn't just beat Reform, he beat every other single party put together. And I think that really does signify that he has the trust and the confidence in people to think that he can make a change and a difference.
Okay. Thank you for now. Back with you shortly. This time last week, you may remember that Peter Kyle, the business secretary, was telling Laura the Prime Minister was reflecting on the political realities. 24 hours later, those realities had hit home, and then it all happened pretty quickly.
I will resign as leader of the Labour Party. I shall spend more time on the most important job, being the best husband I can.
Yeah, we could see him cry again.
Reliving the moment.
Honestly.
It almost came.
Chat, I didn't realise pornography was on the agenda today. Okay, cool.
Literally, I had to tweet an apology tweet because I gloated so much.
I will never apologise. I will never apologise. This man swims in a sea of Palestinian blood. No personal insult is too great for him.
I mean that is true, but I get followed by like, Canada have scored in the 95th minute.
Yay!
Sorry, I looked at my Twitter feed and it showed me. But like, yeah, like I get followed by like prominent economists and journalists and things, so I can't like me going sad meep noises over a picture of Keir Starmer crying. Like, is maybe not a good look, but again, I really fucking hate him. I hate him so much.
Oh, she's changed, chat. She's sensible. She's an adult in the room. Economist friend.
Wife Vic, who has been a rock by my side through good times and bad.
Eat shit, Keith! Eat shit! Fuck you! Handing the L, take the L.
Please someone clip that and send it to all the economists that follow Notice This.
Andy Burnham has just posted on X that he is up for it.
This was the dumbest thing. They had a helicopter following a train. And I thought, like, I didn't have... Well, exactly. I didn't have the noise on. So at first I thought, are the railways that bad that it's now news that we have a functioning train? Why are they...
in the heat.
Yeah, why are they following this fucking random train? It's one of these things has Andy Burnham in it. I don't care then. It's a fucking train, lads.
Confirm that I will put myself forward in the process that will soon be underway.
Mr. Burnham, are you ready for the top job? Are you ready? Just wanted to ask him if he had a plan.
Listen to the heckle. He's not the Messiah, someone shouts.
We can still win. I think Andy is the person to lead us to do that.
So you're not launching a bid, even though you definitely have the 81 names, Wes? That's interesting.
You know who West Streeting reminds me of, Kev? You know who West Streeting reminds me of? Gavin Newsom.
Yeah, there's a Gavin Newsom-esque vibe to it now.
Because they are like right wing. Internally, they both believe like right wing things, and that's why they got into politics, was to be right wing, right? But I mean, no, that's not just that. So they didn't get into politics to be right wing. They have right wing beliefs, but they don't really care about the beliefs that they have, right? Because they got into politics to be politicians, to do politics, right? To have it as a career. You've noticed now that Gavin Newsom, like, backtracked on his comments in Israel. He's now calling for a billionaire's tax, right? And he's just like, as soon as it becomes popular, just like, yeah, no, we'll do it, right? Zach Polanski attacks Labour from the left, do a wealth tax, I'll say I'm doing a wealth tax, right? I'll pretend that it's a wealth tax, even though it's not a wealth tax, right? Just the most naked political opportunists in fucking Christendom, right? Like,
literally.
I hear he's extremely liberal. Extremely.
He doesn't know anything, does he? That man's brain is literally soup.
Actually, outside of, are the policies not going to be shit? Not high hopes. The one thing that I'm super interested in seeing is how Andy Burnham deals with Donald Trump. That's going to be fascinating, because there's a real huge space to open up there in terms of Andy Burnham not being a little cuckboy dick sucker, which Keir Starmer was, right? Like, changing that relationship to be one that's either more hostile or, you know, just standing up to him, because I think Trump would probably appreciate that in the way that kind of Mandani did anyway, would make this relationship, the special relationship, would make it at least somewhat interesting, and potentially would be a real kind of feather in his cap electorally if it can be the shown as what standing up to Trump actually looks like when you looked at Pedro Sanchez, for example.
Sure. Just quick question: who is this? Who's this person? I don't recognise.
She's the best polling political leader in Britain. Don't know her name, but she is.
Fair enough. Okay.
Oh shit! Apparently, Marina Perkins and Gemma Forte played my Starmer Greatest Hits compilation and credited me with the clip as well. Well, there you go.
Ooh, media friends. Ooh.
Can you was it on the latest episodes, Lugaroo?
Look at that. Chat. She's got friends in high places, okay?
I do.
Expect no justice to be in the cabinet. Fact.
Loudly while there are 400 knives stuck in his back. Shame on them. They don't like it up them, but they know that what I'm saying is true. What for? A pair of eyelashes and a black t-shirt.
As we debate issues robustly in this House, that we are all human, and it's something that...
Oh God, Liberal Democrats are so pathetic. Like, he's not even wrong. It's just like, you're so soy. We're all humans. Alright, mate, calm down, will you?
Keir Starmer isn't, though. He's a lizard.
Well, so is Ed Davey. But they have to pretend that they're humans.
No, he's just like he's like a zombie that's been put together of all the different pieces of all the postmasters that were killed, right?
But
he's sucked their souls out of their body and absorbed them, and he has become kind of a corporeal form of the souls of those postmasters.
He is 23% zipline. That's what he is.
He just kind of like a Boris Johnson, doesn't he?
Yeah.
With no hair.
Everyone should remember.
It's dark blue, actually.
So what next? Officially,
What?
there could still be a leadership contest. But
Was he looking at his...
nice to have a Prime Minister.
Was he looking at his cock? What did I miss there? Hang on. What was he looking down at?
Oh, his t-shirt.
Oh, okay. I'm with you. Right. It might have been very cold that day. I don't know. Yeah, it would be nice to have a Prime Minister. What?
So that is actually new. He may not actually be human, but at least he sounds human. You know.
Vaguely, but unfortunately, what he also is an annoying indie dad from the 90s.
I mean, literally is, isn't he?
It's very annoying.
Oh, I like the Stone Roses.
Yeah, I know, mate. Yeah, Britpop was awesome. Yeah, okay, calm.
So what next? Officially, there could still be a leadership contest, but it's looking less and less likely another candidate will stand. And if no one does, and
Excuse me, are you ruling out the great, mighty behemoth of Labour politics, Albert Mohammed Khans? His name's not Mohammed, but I just thought I'd say it.
Burnham will become Labour leader on Friday the 17th of July before moving into Downing Street on Monday the 20th, just 3 weeks away. Let's talk to Lucy Powell, Labour's deputy leader. She's known Andy Burnham for 30 years and she's live in Manchester now. Good morning to you, Lucy Powell.
Good morning.
So Keir Starmer led you to a landslide victory 2 years ago. What do you say to people who might have voted Labour but didn't vote for this?
Well, look, I think...
Well, look, virtually nobody voted Labour but the vote, like, no one voted for Keir Starmer. Like, no one. They voted Labour to get rid of Tories, which ironically led to more Tory shit. But, you know.
On top of this, like, what did they vote for? Because the manifesto pledges all got dropped anyway. Like, they were just kind of nonsense that were made to get over the line. And all the things that they have done weren't in the manifesto. You know, they had a whole shadow manifesto that nobody voted for. Assisted dying, which again was a private members bill, but they basically admitted in the background that they had to do it through private members bill because they knew the public wouldn't like it. The digital ID, the jury trials, the crackdowns on protests and all that kind of stuff. Like, they literally had like gender self-ID in the manifesto. Whether you support that or not, they've literally totally U-turned on that for something else. Like, the public voted for a manifesto that included gender self-ID, and now we have trans people thrown out of society. So what did we vote for? They literally lied about everything that they kind of pretended that they were doing. Like,
they literally said they'd get rid of the House of Lords and have stacked it with all their mates.
Yeah, like, it's been a political kind of policy perspective. It's entirely built out of subterfuge and lies and deceit.
Yep.
No one voted for anything because votes are meaningless now, because you don't actually do any things of the set. You don't actually do any of the things that you say you're going to do, and the things that you do are stuff that you never said. Like, it's what a fucking waste of time voting for anybody if none of the actual things that happen are anything like what was said during the election campaign. They campaigned on like £9 billion of tax rises and increased tax by like £60 billion in 2 budgets. Necessarily, I might add, these were a very necessary tax increases given the state of the public realm and how little we get taxed in this country, right? But you can't just do that having promised the opposite. You can't just go, oh, £22 billion black hole that definitely didn't exist and we definitely didn't know about, even though we were told about it in the run-up to the election, and ignored it, right? Like, what was the fucking point?
Yeah.
I want to take this opportunity to pay tribute to Keir. He has served us as Labour leader for over 6 years, and in that time...
You got rid of the scourge of anti-Semitism, which was definitely real and there.
And the things like, no one believes this shit anymore either.
No.
Like, everyone who kind of got baited into this shit in the 2016 to 2019 must feel like a real fucking clown now.
But again, the same people who made the same shit, whether it be JOB and the party of Holocaust deniers, you can be wrong and wrong and wrong, but if you're posh and well connected, you keep your job even though you're always wrong.
Especially if you have a book called How to Be Right.
Yeah.
Really turned things around for us as a party, made us electable again, won that huge victory in the general election just 2 years ago, and I think particularly in the last 2 years as Prime Minister, has really reset our standing and our relations.
That is true. He has reset our standing. Now everyone thinks we're a fucking clown show. Yeah. Yeah, no, that is true. Well done.
Around the world, and we're now seen as a leading player on that global stage in a way that we were.
What the fuck are you talking about?
No, that didn't happen. That's not a thing that happened.
We are a basket case. We are the nutter at the bus stop that everyone doesn't even want to look at.
Yeah, we're just like Donald Trump's fucking cumsock.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
Before,
so
and
why are you getting rid of him? In
testimony to him. Well, look, I mean, I think it's not me getting rid of him, but I want to focus really on the positive contributions that he has made. But as he said himself on the steps of Downing...
Go on then. What are they then, exactly? I'm waiting, Lucy.
Downing Street on Monday, you know, we're here in the middle of the World Cup, aren't we? You know, when the manager loses...
I'm sorry. You do not get to benefit from that. He had nothing to do with England qualifying for the World Cup. Okay?
I'll tell you what though, Lucy. He stood on the steps of Downing Street, right, on Monday, and he went from meet to weep.
Hey! Honestly, I'm surprised there are hosepipe bans. Can't we just water the fields with his tears?
Oh, imagine.
You know, the manager often takes the decision that that's the time for them to go, and I think that's the decision that he has made.
I know you're doing a Keir Starmer tribute, but you don't have to do a tribute act by doing awkward pop references that you don't understand. That's like, you didn't need to mention the World Cup at all, or managers, or anything. Also, this still makes her look like she might have had a stroke. A little bit. Can you raise both arms, Lucy?
but he has served our party well, and we do owe him a great deal of gratitude.
Okay.
And now it's time for us to move on to a new phase, and that's what we'll be doing.
Okay. He wasn't given much choice in the end, a lot of people would say. Let's look at the direction the country might go in then if Andy Burnham does become our next Prime Minister. He's giving a speech tomorrow on the economy. What do
You're not going to push back at all on the, we did lots of good stuff bit? No? You're not going to mention the genocide or the trying to eviscerate the disabled or the trans people, or the fact that even one of the good things he did do, he purposefully kept children in poverty for the vast majority of his prime ministership?
Yeah, he cared far more about sticking it in. He cared far more about sticking the knife into the left of his own party by being able to performatively take the whip away from them than he cared about all of the children that he was continually keeping in penury. As our children continue to shrink, that's the thing that's happening in this country.
Literally.
Our children are growing up shorter than everybody else's in Europe because of these cuts.
Literally, neoliberalism has reversed 300 years of human growth. Literally. Thanks, guys.
you think his #1 priority will be or should be?
Well, look, I mean, I'm speaking really as the deputy leader and as somebody who's lived and worked alongside Andy Burnham for a long time here in Greater Manchester. And I've shared a lot of the same frustrations that he has shared in the lost opportunity that could have come were more powers and resources spread out around the country and given to local areas to determine.
So you're going to mention the fact that the person you were just paying tribute to literally took away powers and undermined the devolution settlements? No? Okay, cool. Also, talking of the authoritarianism, it was good to see those four, let's say, direct action anti-genocide protesters get off this week. I mean, there'll be some sort of retrial because the government has like petty little cunts, but at least for now, the jury went, nah, bruv, nah. Which is nice. It's nice to see Keir Starmer taking L's all the time. He will never stop taking L's. Yeah.
Yeah.
What does he take more of? L's or Ukrainian D's? I don't know.
Determine for themselves, and I think he's got a really strong agenda about changing that, something that actually was in our manifesto, but we've really not realised in the scale and the speed of which we should have done that. Greater Manchester is the fastest growing region in the country by some distance. But if we had more control over things like skills and local transportation, we could better connect people to all those new job opportunities of the future, and we could go much further and faster with that. So I think Andy wants to see that right round the country.
You know what would be really good for that would be like connecting, say, like the major cities of England, like, I don't know, Leeds, Manchester, Birmingham and London via a high-speed rail line. That would
potentially go up to Scotland soon as well, so that all of the constituent countries of the nation could be able to to travel quickly.
You can have a branch off to Cardiff and Swansea as well. It would be nice, wouldn't it? Create a lot of jobs and things as well.
It's impossible. There'll be communism to do that.
That would be trained communism. Yeah.
Communities in every part of Britain being able to seize their own agenda, to seize power for themselves in order to transform their communities. And I think that's a very powerful agenda, actually.
Is it weird to you that the country...
Actually, that's a good point. Yeah, she's arguing for more powers for the regions. So you're saying that when the SNP ask the new King at North to for an independence referendum, presumably you want to devolve powers, right? Allow the Scottish people to have their say, yeah? Lucy? Lucy!
So we did democracy once. We did democracy one time in 2014, which is funny because this woman stood on a manifesto about redoing a more recent referendum, not 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Doesn't know how he would deal with some of the really big issues like funding defence properly or dealing with President Trump or how to bring down welfare spending. And
there you go. Thanks, Vicky. I thought for a second you weren't going to do manufacturing of the consent, but you did. You literally did.
She finally remembered what her job is.
Well done. Thanks. Lovely.
Be Prime Minister in 3 weeks.
Well, I think he has given some indications of that. But look, what we...
Oh, that's okay. He's given some indications. Well, thankfully, we don't live in a democracy where we should have a clear, thought-out plan that the people can vote on. That would be crazy.
What we are seeing here is parliamentary democracy. We are parliamentary democracy. We're each individually elected by our own constituents with a mandate, and the Prime Minister is the first among equals.
Okay, right. Does anyone want to go and find the tweets from Lucy Powell calling for a general election after every Tory left?
Yeah.
Because none of them can hold a fucking consistent position on this. I guarantee she said, like, oh, there should be a general election because Liz Truss wasn't elected. Which, by the way, was true. But it's true now as it was then.
I mean, we shouldn't have had an election like that. They just had a manifesto. Like, the manifesto was the people what they're elected on, who then she commanded the authority of in the House of Commons, because the executive sits at the behest of the legislature.
Well, that is absolutely true, but there's no point denying that if you're going to have essentially a new government with a completely different manifesto, with a completely different series of policies, that should go to the electorate, and that's going to happen. You know,
if there's a significant change of direction in terms of what actually happens, right? Then that he would have to go to the public for a different.
Look, I support this policy, but did anyone actually vote for Liz Truss's policy of personally murdering the Queen? Like, I don't think the British public would have voted for that.
No.
And so even though I personally support her brutally slaying the Queen with her own bare hands, which definitely happened, it should have gone to the British people first.
Yeah.
That was not in the manifesto, although that would have been based as fuck if it were.
Has been the case, and I think we've seen one of the reasons that Andy is so well known and he's so popular and well liked is because he has built up over a long period of time a sense of clear purpose and a sense of whose side he is on. People, not just in my part of the world in Greater Manchester, but actually right across the country, know what Andy actually is about, and I think that is something that's been missing in politics a bit in recent years, and something that he will bring.
Andy is about Andy. If Andy was about serving the people, he'd serve out his term as mayor, wouldn't he? Andy wants to be Prime Minister, so Andy stood in an election. And Manchester can now go fuck itself.
It's fine. No, it's fine. We'll be able to sort Greater Manchester out with a Green Party mayor. Geraldine Coggins, which is the most Green Party coded name you've ever fucking heard in your life.
It is or a little bit Charles Dickens.
Inflation Reduction Act. Oh, sorry.
No. It's a bit Dickens.
Okay.
Oh, little Mrs. Coggins down the road, you know.
To the table, and that's why he won so resoundingly in Makerfield just recently. People did feel that he was one of them, that he was going to go out there and really bat hard for people living in Makerfield
and he didn't talk about tonguing any celebrity arses. Which was definitely a plus.
The communities like that, and I think that's what we want to see in our leaders.
One of the key decisions the next Prime Minister will make is who they want as their Chancellor. You've worked very closely with Ed Miliband. Obviously, a Prime Minister will make their own decision, I understand that. But do you think he would make a good Chancellor?
Well, I mean, yes, I do actually. But actually, I think this is a slightly distracting conversation because I think we've all got a really important job to do. Every single member of the Parliamentary Labour Party and our wider movement, our general secretaries of our trade unions, we've got Joanne there in the studio with you today, and Labour Party members, we've all got a really important job to play here.
But it
now
does sound
turning
that
things around for the Labour Party, but also, and most importantly, for the country as a whole. And
but it sounds like you would back Ed Miliband as
speculation about what. Well, look, I don't really want to get in.
I wouldn't mind Ed Miliband as Chancellor, given the other options available. Like that's sort of damning with faint praise to a degree, but
if
being realistic, he's probably the best of a shite bunch.
Yeah, almost certainly. Yeah.
into jobs about ourselves. I just think that is a really distracting conversation. This is not about my job or anybody else's job. This is about creating jobs in every part of the country and making sure that people have got opportunity, hope, well-paid, decent work. They've got a home they can afford to live in, and they've got a little bit extra to do the nice things in life. That's the jobs that I'm bothered about. And I think all this sort of tittle-tattle about who's getting which job, I really just think is quite unedifying, quite honestly.
Right. It is a really important role, though, because it will give us a clue as to the direction of a putative Andy Burnham government. I want to ask you about something that you put on Facebook when Liz Truss resigned. Conservative.
Here we go. Vicky, no pre-watch. No pre-watch. It's just the obvious point. Well done,
Bring in
Vicky.
the receipts.
Doing a cheeky little bit of journalism whilst the lack of journalism is away.
But I mean, it should be so easy. It should be so fucking easy to get clicks as anyone who wants to be able to go viral, which is basically what news is nowadays, is trying to get clicks and go viral. Yeah. It should be so fucking easy to do so in this world of social media and 24-hour rolling news, to catch politicians out of being total fucking hypocrites, right? They all do it. All of them do it. They all go back and change their minds and become different people and be entirely contradictory of their past statements and past beliefs, right? Any journalist who wants to become famous could just be the person who does the receipts. You know,
yeah.
You go to Keir Starmer when he says that Russian war crimes are bad, and you go, but you said Israeli war crimes couldn't be judged until there was an ICJ ruling. Yeah. Which one's right? You know?
Yeah, exactly. But the problem is, of course, anyone would do that, the politicians would stop going on their show. That's the problem with the access, you know. Yeah, but here we see journalism at its natural habitat. The beauty and grace of the journalism is a story as old as time itself.
Resigned on the 20th of October 2022 after 49 days in office. You posted, "Let the public decide the next Prime Minister, general election now." Do you want a general election now so the public can decide their next Prime Minister?
Well, I think we were in very particular times after...
You were coping and seething.
Liz Truss had crashed the economy, making big decisions that had nothing...
Yeah, but she had also killed the Queen, so, you know, swings and roundabouts.
...to do with what was in the Conservative manifesto, and we were all paying the price for that almost instantly.
The principle,
in higher mortgage rates and all of that.
The principle is the same, isn't it?
Well,
the principle is the same. Let the public decide on the next Prime Minister, you wrote. So that situation could apply to now. Do you want the public to decide on the next Prime Minister now?
No.
Well, we live in a parliamentary democracy where the Prime Minister is chosen by MPs.
Oh, do we? Reading all the tweets from 2022 didn't seem like we are, does it?
Yeah, like, why did you not believe we lived in a parliamentary democracy with Liz Truss? But you do now. It's interesting. It's almost like you're a careerist twat. Almost.
Is the situation that
we're in now. You didn't say that in October 2022.
What we had then was two prime ministers in less than 2 months, one of whom came along and didn't listen to anybody around her. The big institutions that support this country took some big decisions for which every single one of us paid a very, very heavy price, in inflation going through the roof and our mortgage rates going through the roof after a real period of huge disruption.
So you don't...
So democracy doesn't matter now, but it did then. Okay. I mean, that's an interesting argument to make.
I think there should be a general election now.
Different time.
Is that not hypocritical?
No, I don't think it is, because I think what people actually want to see now is us getting on with the job, delivering on the manifesto that we were elected on only 2 years ago. A very bold and radical manifesto that's...
Well, at the very least, 43% of the public voted for the election manifesto that Boris Johnson stood on, right? At the very least, there is a significant chunk of the population who actively voted for the thing that Liz Truss then didn't kind of actually
do.
At least Rishi Sunak kind of, not actually wasn't even that similar, to be honest. Like, both Sunak and Truss governed significantly to the right of Boris Johnson. Yep. So actually, the public voted for a prospectus like very left wing in comparison.
To be fair, Johnson also governed to the right of Johnson's manifesto as well. So, like,
I mean, that's also true.
Yeah.
Still got many things in it that we need to follow through on, and I'm sure you'll talk about some of those later with Joanne and others, in terms of giving people secure, decent, well-paid job with the hours that they can live off, for example, something that Joanne's very keen that we enact. We've got that manifesto we've got to deliver on, and people want us to get on with the job, deliver the change that they want to see. And you know, Andy,
you're not changing enough, though.
Yeah, yeah, it's not bold or radical. It's shit. Your plan is shit.
And the change, you got no fans.
You got no fans. Your stadium's shit. Do you want some? I'll give it to you.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, like, the change that you are doing is stuff that wasn't in the manifesto that you've now just said is the important thing that you were elected on. You keep changing things that you had no mandate with which to do. I mean, I guess that's probably why I actually don't think there should be a general election, and Andy Burnham should be able to govern, do whatever he wants, because that's exactly what the previous government fucking did. Like, who cares whether it's in a manifesto? Like, look at the Trump administration. They're doing a bunch of things which are, like, totally unconstitutional. Does anyone care in the public that it's unconstitutional? No, they care because it sucks, right? Like, they care that Trump is doing awful, heinous shit. They care far more about the negative utility of it rather than whether or not it's constitutional. Likewise, I think when it comes to Andy Burnham, they would care far less about whether or not they have the manifesto commitment with which to do it, whether they like it or not. It's going to be more important.
Well, exactly. The old nonsense, the liberal bullshit of when they go low, we go high. No, fuck that noise. Get in the trenches and fight. I want you to fucking fight for me, you cunts. Do something, for the love of God.
Yet, but Andy's agenda about really getting that lifeblood back into every single community across this country, so that people can be proud of the area that they live in, they can get a decent, well-paid job nearby where they live, and they can have hope and opportunity for their young people in their family. That is not a lot to ask of any government, and that is something we've got to start to deliver.
So you've been in government 2 years and you haven't even started to deliver that.
Yeah, they've not asked Sue Gray. That's the problem. Come on, get Sue in.
You know what they should do? Set up a Quango on how to start doing any policy at all. That would be good, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Like, have a milestone.
Yeah.
For a pledge, for a first step, for a shift, for a... I don't know, to build, to put the door on, fix the foundations of the...
Turn in the corner, reset number 6 billion, let's go.
Which is basically what this is.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. Although, to be fair, at least this is kind of a reset. Him sat behind a desk at Downing Street going, we're doing a reset, and changing nothing isn't a reset. They've rebadged it, you fool.
Like, this is an actual reset. Previously, they were just putting, like, endless extra layers of lipstick on the same pig. Right? Like, over and over again.
Yeah, and then and then setting up a Quango to go, maybe we should use blusher on the pig as well. You know?
About the speculation around the Chancellor's job, for example, as being unedifying. I mean, you will have read, like we all have, that the anonymous briefings to newspapers and political magazines trashing certain...
To be fair, Comrie, they ask, where's the Hillsborough law? Well, exactly. I mean, Keir Starmer has fundamentally abandoned the 97 dead and their families. But also, like, if there's one thing he has to do coming in Burnham, being the guy who's from kind of Liverpool, Scousers, don't fucking shout at me again. I don't give a fuck if he's from some little town that isn't technically Liverpool, okay? I don't care. No one cares, right? But he's sort of from Merseyside more broadly and did campaign for justice for the 97. If there's something he has to do, he has to get that bill through, right? Surely, for the love of fucking God. Am I asking, like, maybe I'm giving him too much credit. Maybe he's too shit even for that. I don't know. But you would think for his own fucking sanity he'd do it. I don't know.
Labour cabinet ministers and jockeying for position. Last year when I interviewed you on Newsnight, you told me these sort of anonymous briefings from blokes is a culture that was disgraceful and which you wanted to end as deputy leader. It clearly hasn't ended. What do you think about what you're reading each day?
Well, we really do need to change that culture, absolutely. I think I've made a little bit of progress in that as deputy leader over the last few months, but that's something I'm very keen that we really tackle and change. And I know it's the one thing that I have discussed with Andy in recent...
I'm going to dissent here.
Go on then.
As long as the Labour right are in charge of the party, yeah, you brief all you want. You just say what you really think. If it wasn't for the briefing culture, we would not know that they believed that they were shaking off the fleas, right?
I know what you mean. I'll be honest. I think you're being a little churlish. Look, okay, stick with me. Okay, this is a safe space, everyone. I think you're doing student politics right now. Unironically, you're doing a little bit student politics.
I mean, I don't think so. I think it's important that the sound bites that properly kind of encapsulate these people's opinions I think it's really important that the public kind of know this stuff, right?
Right, but it's not
because there are plenty of people out there that until shaking off the fleas became this huge kind of emblematic statement about how the Labour Party view their own membership. A lot of people would have probably stuck around, right? Like they would have been able to have been duped by like Open Labour into thinking this is a party worth saving.
I mean, perhaps, but it leads to a skewing of what they actually believe as well. And indeed, leads to a culture of suspicion that doesn't lead to good policy making because they're all scared to do anything whatsoever. Like, again, that's why I say you're doing kind of student politics to a degree. Now, don't get me wrong, you're a shitposter on the internet. I'm not like holding you to the standard of, oh, you're not doing serious government because you're not in the government, so it's fine, whatever. But in practicality, it means that like people are scared to do anything, like with Carl Turner, who literally came out and said, oh, maybe getting rid of fucking jury trials is a bad thing, actually, and as a lawyer I'm just saying that, you know, openly, and then they fucking briefed against him that he had mental health problems. Like, it's just, it just allows bullying to happen, you know?
I mean, that is true. You just get used for bullying. Like, whilst, of course, again, it's just another thing that we can add to the roster of the different things that we now know that these people have said that makes it very obvious to everybody who pays attention they're totally unfit for fucking office, right?
Yeah.
The idea that he would get briefed, this stuff would get briefed out at all is disastrous because it must have been awful for Carl Turner.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Speaking of which, he spoke to the newsagents on their podcast recently. What was the thing that he said?
I don't know, but I'm guessing he said it very northernly.
He did. It was definitely very, very kind of Hull coded, right? And not Hull City.
More Hull KR. Yeah.
I don't feel sorry for a failed politician who's fucked up. Thank you very much. Tatty bye farewell.
Absolute king. That's why you elect working class people to Parliament, telling it like it fucking is. Even if you don't agree with his politics, and I don't always with Carl Turner, at least he's got the bollocks to say something. Good man.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's true. Don't brief it. Say it fuck it out loud.
Yeah, you know? say it with your chest. Say it on your chest, and then and don't do the thing like, oh, I don't comment on anonymous briefing and leaking and all this sort. No, come out and say it. No, he's a wanker. Yeah, he's a wanker. Fuck it. Do one, bruv.
I'm here as a political commentator saying that I think that Keir Starmer is a putrid subhuman shit cunt, right? Like, I'm saying these things publicly. That's what I believe, right? Yeah. Have some bloody bollocks.
Also, clip that and send it to all the economists. We want to do supercuts of people's best bits. Let's do all the... let's send Marina Purkis the real No Justice super bites. Yeah, let's go.
Days and weeks that he also is very keen on changing that culture, and that's about valuing, respecting and hearing and acting on all the views of all of our colleagues. It's about building and creating a team where people are not appointed because they're part of a political faction or because they're part of a friendship group, but on meritocracy because of their experience, their passion, their commitment. And we've got to turn that around. That's going to be a big task for all of us.
How are you going to do that when the PLP is entirely nepotistic? When you've literally got Wes Streeting's fucking boyfriend in there. Like, there's no meritocracy happening here. What are you talking about? Oh, Sue Gray's son gets to be a fucking candidate. Oh, yeah, no, I'm sure he's just the best man for the job.
And one that I take very seriously as deputy leader, and I think we can do, but that is a new way of doing politics, and that's something actually I think you know, if we're talking about Andy has learnt from here in Greater Manchester, where he is actually the first among equals of the 10 leaders of local authorities. You have to work as a team across the whole area.
So can I
and
ask
I know
you
that he wants to build that kind of team in government.
If I may, then
He is first among equals. That is true. There's Andy Burnham in Greater Manchester. There's King Rat here in Birmingham. There's Sadiq Khan in London. These are they're all equals. Fact. Or squeakles, technically.
public spat we've seen this week with the Immigration Minister Mike Tapp and his boss, Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood, is that the kind of thing you're talking about? Do you think this kind of thing is getting worse?
Yeah, we do. Look, people, when they're ministers, you know, which is a huge honour and a privilege, when people are ministers, they are bound by ministerial responsibility, and we have to take that seriously. So, look, we have to create a culture where people are allowed to have differing views, where people are allowed to share those views and debate them, particularly, you know, in private and behind closed doors. They're not punished for that. They don't have the wit removed from them for speaking out or for taking a different position.
Are you fucking joking? Are you taking the piss, Lucy Powell? You're now saying this 2 years after having purged people for voting for the policy that you now claim you always supported anyway. You absolute shameless gobshite. Unbelievable.
Basically, they're allowed to say this now that all the Corbynites have been purged.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Now that there actually aren't any people who would disagree on anything, now you can say, yeah, we can disagree on stuff.
But also, you do have to have collective responsibility, and that means when decisions are taken, we have to all go out and sell those decisions. And that is a new culture to bring about. And we do have a...
It's not a new culture. Collective responsibility has been the form of government we've had for 150 fucking years. What are you talking about? I mean, the fact that you think it's a new culture either means you are ignorant as fuck, or actually the dissension within his own cabinet has been worse than we thought. Who knows?
You know, a media in this country that is obsessed with difference all the time, and so therefore we all collectively have a responsibility as a team to work together, to respect one another, respect those boundaries.
Yeah, they've literally had at least a dozen Labour MPs had the whip withdrawn from them. Mad.
But also respect difference and respect differing views.
I was going to ask you about the precedent in Labour of the deputy leader of the party becoming deputy prime minister, but you've already told me you don't like the speculation around jobs, so I'll bear that in mind. I'll ask you instead, finally, Lucy Powell, because the Conservatives have had 3 women leaders and prime ministers. Are you disappointed that it appears another man is going to be leading your party?
Well, look, I mean, actually, what I'll also say is I was working out this morning. I joined the Labour Party in the 1980s, and actually in that time, we've only, since Neil Kinnock...
You know who they should have run again? She's already got previous. Liz Kendall. Definitely. I reckon you could get upwards of 2%, Liz, this time, I reckon. Go for it.
We've only had 6 leaders of the Labour Party. So we do generally keep leaders for quite a few years in the Labour Party. Of course, I'd like to see a woman leader at some stage. But this is a difficult...
It is 10 years ago to the day that the Parliamentary Labour Party said they had no confidence in Jeremy Corbyn as leader and deliberately tried to oust him in a chicken coup. So she's out here going, yeah, we usually keep our leaders along as long as we can. And I'm like... Doesn't matter when it's the left, though.
Well, considering he's Hitler, it's less a chicken coup and more Operation Valkyrie, surely.
Listen, again, like, they keep doing these stuff. Like, let me just double check. Did Lucy Powell...
I would imagine, yeah. She's the obvious kind of person who definitely would have done that because she's scum. Who remembers Owen Smith? Do you remember when he was a thing, very briefly?
Yeah, again, all the same people who supported him are now the ones having a fucking temper tantrum on Threads about how there's to be no leadership election for the new leader, and now Andy Burnham's coming and usurping the great Keith, right?
Mm.
These are all people who would have supported Owen Smith against Jeremy Corbyn and supported the PLP when they did a chicken coup.
True. Labour... Well, this is the thing with women leaders, right? Look, right, I don't want to say women are unfit to be Prime Minister. I'm just going to say every woman who has been Prime Minister has been shit. Prove me wrong.
Yeah, gonna going to confirm here, Lucy Powell did indeed vote no confidence in Jeremy Corbyn in 2016, June the 28th, 2016, exactly 10 years ago to the day. And specifically said that he had been sent an overwhelming message from MPs and he should step aside. And then they forced him out, and then there was a leadership election, and he won with an even larger majority of the fucking members.
I was about to say, the strong message that they sent to him, the membership then sent a much stronger message to the MPs to shut the fuck up.
Very, very true.
Yeah. Also, hello, my left eye. You raided in just as I was doing some ironic misogyny. But it was ironic, I promise.
This is a difficult job that brings a huge amount.
Everyone go and follow my left eye, otherwise I will fuck you up. I'm not even going to apologise for that one.
Of exposure to yourself, to your family. You know, it really is a relentless job, and I'm just glad that actually.
Oh, someone did a check. Owen Smith is now a lobbyist for a pharmaceutical company.
Wow, I'm so shocked.
I am shocked. The revolving door of scumbaggery is undefeated.
Someone does want to do it, and I'm pleased that actually what it looks like is that we're probably going to have just the one candidate in Andy Burnham, and how refreshing that would be that the whole Labour Party is agreed on the new leader. We don't have to go through a contest that could be damaging at this point in time, and now we've all got to get behind that leader and stop the kind of infighting and chitter-chatter from the background.
Thank you very much. Clear signal you don't want a contest. Thank you, Lucy Powell, Deputy Leader of Labour and ally of Andy Burnham. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, after leading his party to that landslide victory just 2 years ago, Sir Keir Starmer's resignation means he will leave Downing Street as Labour's shortest-serving Prime Minister in history.
Loser! Can we get some L's in chat?
His resignation speech, he accepted he wasn't the best place to lead Labour into the next general election, and he would do everything he could to ensure a smooth transition of power. One of Keir Starmer's closest allies.
Well, no wonder Wes Streeting wanted to get rid of him if he's going to have a transition. Jesus.
So true.
Housing and Community Secretary Steve Reid worked alongside the PM in opposition and in government, and he's here now.
Build, baby, build. MAGA hats. Everyone likes MAGA hats, right?
Good morning to you, Mr. Reid.
Morning, Vic.
Now, last month you said, we know from the Conservatives that doom scrolling through Prime Ministers is never the answer. And yet here you are.
Well, the Prime Minister took his decision on Monday. We all heard what he had to say in that rather emotional speech.
Yeah, I was rock hard. Yeah.
The emotion I experienced was elation.
Oh, I was going to go with horniness, but I mean, yeah, it's a similar outcome. Yes.
Down, and now we will choose a new leader.
But your party's doing the exact thing that you said just a few weeks ago never worked.
No, this is happening in a very, very different way. Like when Boris Johnson went, he'd been having parties during the lockdown in 10 Downing Street. One of them the night before the Queen buried her husband.
To be fair,
that's not why he resigned.
To be fair, I was partying that night as well, but you know, but maybe.
Well, it's like but he didn't resign over Partygate. He resigned over Chris Pincher.
Yeah, but we don't really talk about appointing people who have dodgy sexual pasts at all. That's not. We don't.
No.
The Labour Party don't want to mention that. That's no.
Of 70 years, and he left in disgrace. And the Tories did it again and again, and every time they had.
Do you think that we're going to get the Keir Starmer Institute for Global Sensibleness? Yes, I do.
The
hope
Briefcase
so.
Institute.
Yeah.
Had a big internal.
But what? So it sounds like you're saying when the
battle.
Conservatives swap prime ministers, it's bad, but when Labour do it, it's fine.
What's happening here is.
I only support corruption when I am involved.
Get Bill, pull the clip up. Pull the clip.
Yes. Like, to be fair, we want honesty from politicians, don't we? And this guy was the most honest politician ever.
Absolutely. Honest Steve is what we call him.
Literally.
On the site, whilst you're getting that clip up, I've just found out that Ireland have just beaten India in a T20 series.
Men's?
Yeah.
That's mental.
Whole series victory.
Well done to Ireland. That's fucking mental. Awesome.
Corruption is not bad. Corruption is only bad if I'm not involved.
Yes.
Yes.
But if I'm part of that corruption, I'll defend it.
The fact that everyone's just like chill about that, like, yes, I agree with this man, is genuinely so like fucking weird. Okay, yes, I agree. Okay. Anyway, so basically that's what we've got now as the government, is that man. Cool.
The Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, has accepted with good grace and is going with good grace that he's leaving, and we, I think, now are going to move very swiftly to uniting behind Andy Burnham as the new leader and therefore our new Prime Minister, with none of that turning inwards and talking to ourselves. And that is absolutely essential, because above all else, the country expects their government to focus on the interests of the British people, and that is what we will do by getting behind Andy Burnham, as Lucy Powell just said, uniting behind Andy Burnham and speeding up delivery of the change this country voted for 2 years ago.
You, as I said, have been one of Keir Starmer's closest allies. How do you feel about the way he's been treated by your party?
Well, I think we all, as the Labour Party, owe a debt of gratitude.
How do you feel
to
he's
Keir
been
Starmer.
treated?
Well, it's politics, isn't it? We all know what politics is. I heard Piers speaking earlier on about how volatile politics has been over this past 10 years. But the Prime
And again, it's that they refuse to accept any blame for that. It's all just like, oh well, politics, this ethereal, unconnected thing, has become volatile. No, it's because your policies are shite and everyone hates them.
Yep. Again, like they're trying to blame the electorate. We must dissolve the population and have another one to be able to vote at the next election, right?
Yeah. I want one of his caps. I'm sure you can find them in a tip, probably. I imagine.
They're not being incinerated. They're being pulped.
They are being pulped. He is bouncing back, chat.
Come on, Steve. Do the pose on the front cover.
Say for him.
Of course, I have sympathy. You can't have listened to.
Honestly, he's going to end this by grabbing her and going, "Needless to say, I had the last laugh. Now, fuck off."
Fuck off.
No, his voice was cracking with emotion when he gave that speech, particularly.
Yeah, I know. I was literally on the verge of coming. Yes. Yeah. It was
Again,
so funny.
You can't sympathise. I cannot sympathise with him. Actually, yeah, because I'm not self-centered. I have emotions when I see disabled people not being able to live properly. I see emotions when children are in poverty. I have emotions when I see children blown to pieces, incinerated with weapons that I've sold to people. That would what make me emotional. But no, the singular piece of emotion extracted from the entirety of Keir Starmer's 7 robotic years at the top of the Labour Party, the one singular piece of emotion was when he was the person who had to have a little bit of uncomfortable, diddums.
Oh, the consequences of my own actions and indeed constant inaction. Oh no.
Yeah. Same thing with Theresa May, oversaw weapon sales to Saudi Arabia when they commit war crimes in Yemen. The person who gave us the hostile environment, who gave us red, white, and blue fucking Brexit, right? No emotions at all about any of the shit that went on at that time.
Yeah.
Plenty of emotions about when her career ended.
When Keir Starmer gets emotional about his 2 children, who are the pride of his entire existence, didn't cry a single salt tear for the hundreds of thousands of dead Palestinians that he has helped kill.
Nope.
That's fine.
Not a single one.
Yeah. When he was talking about Vic and the kids, and I know that matters more than the world to him. So of course,
has it been? Yeah,
that's more than Palestinians.
Yeah. Well, we're all in politics, and it's a game of rough and tumble, so it's to be expected. I think the key point now.
Yeah, but does it have to be a game of rough and tumble with Ukrainian rent boys? Really? Come on now.
To be expected. Just 2 years in the job.
It's not about how any of us individually might feel. It's about what this means for the country. And we were elected to tackle the cost of living crisis, to cut NHS waiting lists, in my case, to get more homes built. All of that is what.
How's that going, Steve? How's the new house going?
Also, a good point in chat from Rido. Starmer got emotional because he realised he'd have to pay for his own Arsenal tickets next season.
True.
Turns out he can't impress the wife if he's not got Wahid Ali's credit cards.
Oh no, he's going to have to go down to Specsavers himself and get his own glasses. Oh no.
this government is focused on. During this short transition, we remain focused on that. And I know Andy will want to put rocket boosters on how we change some of these things. And this talk about devolution is so that we can give different regions of the country the power and resources they need to drive economic growth faster in their local areas and get money into people's pockets. So above all else, what I wanted to say today to the country is this government remains focused on the country, not on ourselves.
Is the most inaccurate thing he's ever said, which is a competitive field. No, that you couldn't get a more navel-gazing moment in any government ever. And yeah, he's like, we're focused on the country. Are you bollocks?
Okay. I mean, it probably doesn't for the next few weeks, if you're being honest.
No, it does. It does, Vic. So we've just, you know,
well, let me come to your brief in a moment or two, if I may, because I just.
Also, he knows her as Vic. They're not even just on first name terms. They're on chummy little nickname terms. Anyway, Pookie. Let me tell you all about the Housing Transport Policy. You know, it's just incestuous rubbish. They all know each other. They're all cunts. Vicky Derbyshire is one of the least objectionable, but still objectionable.
Just want to reference what happened on Monday afternoon. Loads of Labour MPs welcomed Andy Burnham back to Westminster, including yourself. You were in that selfie with him. There it is.
There I am. Yep.
Looking really happy.
I've seen this on Twitter. Remember when I talked about the Question Time panel with for kids, which had like Lord fucking David Willits?
Yes.
Lord Willits is so old. As a child, his job was to be a chimney sweep.
Is that literally true?
I mean,
that
please tell me
can't
that's
be
actually
true.
Please tell me that's not.
For a start, he's a fucking Tory. They didn't send Tories up chimneys, surely. I mean, chimneys.
Oh no, that's not. That is. Yeah, it's not true. He went to a boarding school.
Of course he did. So instead, he just got bombed by the grandson of the Sultan of Brunei. So it's fine. Anyway, I hope in this picture what happens is that when Steve Reed isn't in the cabinet, Andy Burnham re-releases it and Stalin-esque style has had him erased from the picture. It gets Yezhoved.
Happy. And by
Pleased to see him back, yeah.
By Wednesday, you'd said you were backing him. Do you think Andy Burnham will be a better Prime Minister than Keir Starmer?
I think he'll build on Keir's legacy. Keir's been our leader for 6 years. He took us from a position where we lost a general election with our worst result in nearly a century, and people said the Labour Party may never win an election again, let alone in 5 years. He led us to that historic victory. Now, as Keir himself said, the party is focused on who can best beat reform and the threat that they face. And we saw in Makerfield exactly what Andy Burnham did. So the party has taken its decision. Keir Starmer has resigned. We will now unite behind Andy Burnham and we will deliver the change this government was elected to deliver.
Hey, hello, Hannah Reloaded and the Stanners, I believe they're referred to as. Yes, hello there, I'm Kevin Logan, socialist from the UK. We do exist. We are a very normal island with normal people.
Oh, God. Yeah, it's extremely normal.
But we are on fire at the moment, so...
the dome isn't going anywhere, by the way. So what's happened is that the reason why it's so hot is that there's a heat dome over Europe because there's like 4 fronts all converging.
This is not the Brexit I voted for. God damn it!
Literally, we're in the European heat dome with no ability to be able to vote our way out of it.
I'm in a glass dome of emotion.
It's mad. literally, it's too hot because of European woke. Apparently, that dome is going to be here for another week. Like it's going to be not as hot for the next week, but next weekend it's back in the 30s again.
Fuck stopping the boats. Can we stop the dome? Can we just?
Dome Depot.
Anyway, yes, everyone go and follow Hannah Reloaded. Also, if you're new here, you can hit the follow button. Go and follow No Justice MTG. She's friends with Marina Perkis.
Yeah, but it has to be 31 on both Saturday and next Sunday. And 24, 26, 24, 24, 26, 27, 29, 31, 31 over the next week.
Mental. It's 105 degrees Fahrenheit here in the city of Maricopa, Arizona. Which is the only reason I know Maricopa is because of Maricopa County.
Apparently it's going to be over the 30s for the next week after that as well.
Oh, suck a fat one, man. Get the fuck out of it. The Brit Bong mind cannot comprehend it.
Oh no.
Oh, we are actually going to die. Okay, cool.
I'm gonna fucking melt.
The melt. But on
Right.
the cost of living, on house building, on the NHS, on our broken public services, all of those things the public care about the most.
Right. Keir Starmer will become the shortest serving Labour Prime Minister in history.
No.
You need to learn from that. What I mean, have you
Keir Starmer's done 6 years as leader of the Labour Party
Yeah,
in
I'm talking about the shortest serving
in
Prime
incredible
Minister.
circumstances.
He talked about a decade of renewal. He was at least expecting 5 years, but your party hasn't allowed that.
As I said before, this isn't, even with the most senior figures, it's not about who's up, who's down. It's about the change we can deliver for the country.
Nobody believes you, Stephen.
Also, like, you didn't seem to be concerned with the policies that were being enacted and how things were going to change from 2015 to 2019. In fact, it seemed that all you cared about was who was at the top of the Labour Party, about the runners and riders and individuals. It was all about Jeremy Corbyn, Corbyn bad, Corbyn bad. It turns out the policy isn't important when it's somebody not from your faction. But as soon as it's Sir Saintly Keir Starmer, the briefcase himself, oh no, actually everything, we don't care. The leaders are not relevant. It's all about the policy and the change and the party unity. Yeah, fuck off, mate. That's not true.
Look, stabbing him in the front is a policy. So, you're wrong. You're incorrect on this. Giggity.
Okay. Now, you know, we've seen stats on housing this week, 25% increase this year compared to last year over social house building. And last year we built more than in any 1 year for 40 years. So we're tackling the housing crisis. None of this will slow that down.
Sure.
The intention is to put rocket boosters behind the change this government is delivering.
The way you're speaking, it's as though Keir Starmer hasn't made any mistakes. And therefore people might be wondering, well, why aren't...
But he's briefcase messiah. Of course he's made no mistakes. He is the most sensible. Peace be upon him. Also, great freeze frame.
Again, that's a very good point from Platform Radio. Like, centrists only cater to existing opinions. Leftists actually try to change them. I think that's basically why people always have this kind of negative reaction to him. Also, thank you, Raboozle, for the 10 gifties.
Are you getting rid of him?
I wouldn't say that. I mean, the Prime Minister himself has recognised that there have been mistakes. There have been decisions that had to be changed. Because of that, everybody recognises that.
Right.
But what I'm trying to emphasise, Vic, is for all the, you know, the personalities matter to those of us that are involved because we know each other. But for the country, this is about their cost of living. It's about.
I'm here for it.
The money that's in their pocket. It's about whether their public services work, and we will never lose sight of that.
In your area, housing, you promised to build 1.5 million homes, or Labour promised to build 1.5 million homes in England by the end of this Parliament.
Yeah.
2 years on, you've built 400,000.
Yeah.
That's miles off 1.5 million, if you're being honest. If it is Andy Burnham who moves into number 10, does he need to do things differently to get more houses built?
Well, the intention with house building, you don't just win the election and then suddenly the homes start getting built. We've changed planning legislation, we've changed planning regulations. We're just seeing that shift starting to come through. So,
but you're not.
It was never going to be an equal amount every year. It was going to increase
but are
towards
you
the
still
end
saying
of
the
the
target's on track then?
The target remains.
The target remains, but are you going to reach it?
The target remains. Well, we have a housing.
No. The answer is no. He knows he cannot do that.
I mean, it's not untrue what he's saying here, that like once you change the regulations and you get the planning permissions, anything new happens because of those changes will happen at the end of the Parliament, right? Like once you've gone through all the process of getting the planning permission and building the thing and getting the funds and raising the capital, there will probably be a significant increase in the rate at which they're being completed in terms of housing completions by the end of the Parliament, right? But I also don't think that will happen.
Literally. Hey, hello, Mixed Vivian Wolf. Everyone go and follow Mixed Vivian Wolf. It's a trans loving tonight. You've got Mixed Vivian Wolf, No Justice MTG, Hannah Reloaded. The transes are taking over!
Yeah.
And I'm here for it. It is Pride, after all. Still just.
Crisis in this country.
No,
You've got record numbers of people sleeping on shop doorways and under bridges. We've got to build more social homes. It's up by 25% this year compared to last year.
Are you saying it's real?
Hang on. But you're the government. You're the government, and you're just like, well, we've got a record number of people. Why? You're the government. But this is on you. We have a record number of fucking child homeless as well. On your watch. You fucking evil bastard.
It was a
Realistic
record for 40 years.
Yeah.
So yes, we're going to keep going with that. But where we can do more, that's what we need to. That's
So
what we need
does
to.
Andy Burnham need to do anything differently in this area
Well,
or not?
Andy's talked about and has always talked about the importance of devolution. I agree with that. You know, I wrote an article 10 years ago talking about a devolution revolution. Andy Burnham, incredibly successful mayor of Manchester, one of Labour's big success stories, knows that more devolution to regions means that you can speed up the change that people want to see and meet the priorities of people in their local area.
Have you spoken
so,
to his team this week, or him? Have you spoken to him this
I've
week?
spoken to him several times this week already, and I'll be speaking to him again as well. You know,
Would you like to remain as house?
And what he said was, please don't sack me, please. Oh, I want to be in the government.
If this guy is anywhere near the cabinet, come Andy Burnham ascension, I will. You can kiss any fat chance of me wanting to work with the Labour Party goodbye.
Well, I think that's already sailed, because his chief of staff is a fucking former, not just a former member of the Labour Friends of Israel, a former chair of the Labour Friends of Israel. So it's
previous advisor to Thames Water as well for like Flint Global.
Yeah, so like I mean, to quote the great Joe Biden, nothing fundamentally will change.
Secretary.
It's entirely up to the Prime Minister, who is in whatever job, whoever
Completely.
the Prime Minister is.
I know that, but would you like to stay as Housing Secretary?
I'm getting on with the job and I'm enjoying doing it, and if he offered it to me, I would be very happy, but it's up to the Prime Minister, of course.
It's reported that...
Seems like someone's waiting for the backbenches.
Sir Keir Starmer is going to offer at least an extra $1 billion to the Defence Investment Plan. That's above the $13.5 billion that we knew about previously. The full details, we're told, are going to be published next week. Can you confirm that more money on top of the $13.5 billion is coming for defence?
Well, I mean, that's for the Prime Minister. I'm not involved in those conversations as the Defence, as the Housing Secretary. But I do know what this government has done. We came into office committed to reaching 2.5% of GDP as our defence spend by the end of this Parliament, and we've exceeded it.
Because you're America's little bitch, yes, we know.
It's already, and the announcements that the Prime Minister will make linked to the Defence Investment Plan will go even beyond that figure. Now, of course, we all see the threat that Russia in particular, but not only Russia, poses to our country. We see the changing nature of that threat with cyber attacks and new forms of attack. We're working very, very closely with the Ukrainians and the way that they have...
Keir Starmer has been working very, very closely with some Ukrainians. This is true. I'm going to carry on doing the joke because it's funny. It's not remotely true, but it is funny.
Transformed their ability to defend themselves against Russia. So we need to learn from all of that and make sure that is applied to how we spend that money. But you know, the bottom line here is defending this country is the first responsibility of any government, and this government will keep the UK safe.
I want to finally talk about something that Lucy Powell...
I'm sorry, in chat, it's Ukraining men. Hallelujah. Ukraining men. That is disgracefully exceptional. Well done.
Reference, which is the anonymous briefings and the culture. You've been around that cabinet table for 2 years. Do you agree with Lucy Powell that culture of backstabbing to the newspapers and briefings has to stop now?
Yes.
As one of the chief architects of that culture, he's obviously going to lie now and say, yeah, it should end. Yep.
It is worth pointing out, like, he as a central figure of Labour Together and the Lambeth Mafia and all the shit that went on around that, he's literally fucking patient zero for the insane briefing culture, probably even more so than Morgan McSweeney.
Yeah, well, he's certainly up there. He's he's on the podium, I would imagine.
Yeah.
It's horrible when that happens. It's absolutely appalling. You know, we all sit around there. No one.
And I definitely believe that you believe that, Steve. Yeah, 100%.
Quite knows who has said what and where, but we do know, as with any team, we're all in this together, and this is the team that is leading the country.
Wait, was the team all in this together from 2015 to 2019, Steve? What happened to the team in that very short period of time?
Well, they were.
Why did the team not have each other's backs back then? Can you tell me why not?
Because Hitler, Jam Hitler.
Adolf Hitler, Adolf Hitler.
Clip it and send it. Send it to Marina Mazzucato now.
Fundamentally, we all hang together or we all hang separately. We can deliver more change for this.
I don't think you should hang. You should just be in the jail cell in The Hague. I don't believe in the death penalty, Steve. But like, if you want to do that, Steve, you know.
Country if we stand united. That is why I'm now backing Andy Burnham to be our Prime Minister. My colleagues, I believe, will do the same thing, and we will stand foursquare behind Andy.
There underneath says that they were too busy stabbing each other in the backs. I think you'll find they were stabbing each other in the fronts.
Exactly. Please do not misrepresent and misquote the great Jessica Mohammed Phillips.
Also, thank you, Andy Slopdengism, for the £10. As a teen in 2017, I shadowed Andy Burnham as mayor. He has no ideology, wanted me to be impressed that he liked Oasis, insulted Jeremy Corbyn, gave a talk at a cloud services firm in Moss Side, which closed in 2022. I literally 0% surprised by any of this.
Yeah, that seems about right.
Andy, to deliver the change this country voted for 2 years ago.
What do you think then of this public row between Immigration Minister Mike Tapp and the Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood?
Well, yeah, clearly it's very, very...
Let them fight.
Mike double tap.
Yeah, true.
Unfortunate. I mean, it's not for me as a colleague to pass judgment on the behaviour of different colleagues.
What the fuck are you talking? Yes, it is. You're a human being. What do you mean it's not up to... Yes, it is. So what about if you came out and fucking stabbed someone? Would you be like, it's not up for me to say anything about this? What about if you came out and fucking gunned down a dozen kids in the street? Well, it's not really up for me to make moral judgments on people.
Well, if it guns down kids in Gaza, well, that's just something that Israel can investigate themselves.
Look, Israel does have that right.
It is an ongoing situation.
Yeah,
but,
she does have that right.
Everything should be within international law.
It should be. Unless you want to break it in limited and specific ways, of course.
But I do notice and see
just as an aside, having mentioned self-investigations and such, do you remember that very harrowing video of the 7 Israeli Defence Force goons raping a Palestinian prisoner? Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. Very, very harrowing.
Indeed.
That was investigated, and this week was the prosecution was dropped.
And the person who leaked the video got arrested and sentenced herself.
Yeah. So, you know, in case you were wondering.
Yeah, rape is legal in Israel as long as you're raping a Palestinian.
Yeah. Interestingly, the Save Our Women and Girls crowd, not so bothered with that one.
Nope. Again, if they're brown, they can be collateralized.
Yeah, true.
Mike Tapp has apologised for some of the things that he said in a tweet, and I think that's absolutely the right thing to do.
Steve Reed, thank you very much for talking to us and our audience this morning. Thank you, Steve Reed, the Housing Secretary. Do let us know what you think of...
Dickhead. That was lovely.
That is what I think,
delivery.
Vicky.
Yeah.
That is what I think, Vicky.
Yeah. So, Vic, please.
Oh, sorry, Vic. Yeah, I'm on first.
The conversations that we've had on the programme this morning, email koonsberg@bbc.co.uk or use the hashtag #BBCLauraK. You can message us on WhatsApp too. It's 08000 282 161, and we'll try and share some of your messages later on in the show or in Laura's newsletter every Thursday. OK, let's talk to our panel again about some of the interviews that they've heard this morning. Joanne Thomas,
what else have we got coming up?
There's the defence guy and James Cleverly, I believe.
OK, yeah.
Do you think Andy Burnham will be a better Prime Minister than Keir Starmer?
I agree with Steve, what he said in relation to building on what Labour's already done. I think he's had an opportunity to see what's worked and equally what hasn't worked, and now has had the opportunity to listen and is having conversations now in relation to, you know, what he can do if he is the Prime Minister. And I think that's really important about listening. And recognising what
needs to be. Why are people so reluctant
in
Labour or who support Labour to say, yeah, of course Andy Burnham will be better than Keir Starmer, that's why Keir Starmer is being got rid of?
Well, I don't think it's about saying who's going to be better. I think it's about what the priorities are, and ultimately what everybody wants is a Prime Minister to deliver on the manifesto commitments that they set out at the general election, and to make sure that they have things like an economy that delivers for workers. And I think when we focus on the people, we don't look at the policies, and it's the policies that matter to people.
Sure.
I think we have to move away from trying to ultimately do people in and make it very personal, when actually politics is about delivering for ordinary people. That's what we want to see. That's what the members who I speak to every single day, certainly in Usdaw, want to see.
I can see you smiling at what John Thomas is saying, Piers Morgan.
You talk about not wanting to do people in, you've literally just done in the Prime Minister. I mean, we hear all this stuff about collective responsibility and we've all got to come together. The Cabinet's just knifed Keir Starmer in the back about 50 times. So I'm afraid there is a stinking hypocrisy there.
What's funny here is this is somehow being framed as though there was this huge internal campaign where the Cabinet went to war like it was Jeremy Corbyn, when in reality, Keir Starmer should have fucking gone months ago.
Yeah.
Like, obviously he should have gone as soon as it was clear that he was terrible at being Prime Minister and that he should never have done it in the first place, right? But he definitely should have gone after the fucking Peter Mandelson stuff.
Yeah, 100%.
He absolutely should have gone as soon as we'd realised that he'd fucking appointed Lord Yum Yum and the media caught up with who Lord Yum Yum was. That should have been the resigning moment, not 6 months later and 1,000 lost council seats.
Yeah.
The only reason we're here is because the Cabinet had literally had no choice but to tell him that his time was up, because there was literally nobody left. No one left in the country thought this man should be Prime Minister anymore.
Yeah.
The idea that somehow the Cabinet have had other ones who have initiated this rather than been dragged kicking and screaming to live in the reality of what Keir Starmer's viewed like in the country. Crazy framing.
Yeah. As there is about their position, about whether Andy Burnham should have an election, for example, as he himself has also called for when the Tories were in this position. And I think he should for two reasons. One, because he's not been elected to run the country. Two, because...
Well, we don't elect a Prime Minister, it's not a presidency. That's not how that works.
And Piers Morgan loves the monarchy, so we'll never have a presidency.
Yeah. Which is interesting given that he's a Catholic and therefore can never be monarch.
True. And on top of this, right, you say, oh, he's never been elected. Who elected the king, Piers? Please tell me.
The penis and ovaries of their parents elected them via God.
Because they talk about delivering
when people say that's not the system we have a parliamentary system, etc., what do you say to that?
I just think, look...
That is the system, Piers.
Well, I'm going to come to the second part of why I think he should do it, which is probably what he should listen to more, which is strategically I think it would be the right thing to do. But I do think the public are a bit fed up with these coronations, right? You know, we elected, as a country, Sir Keir Starmer to deliver on the manifesto in his election campaign. But he didn't. He failed to do that. And Andy Burnham is, I think, a much more personable person individually. I think that's probably going to be an upgrade. But he's already indicated...
Again, damning indictment.
The briefings that they all say they're not doing. All sorts of new policies he wants to bring in, which was not part of the Labour manifesto.
What new policies? What has he said he's going to do that's actually different?
And again, like, if they are new policies that weren't in the manifesto, so did fucking Keir Starmer. I mean, people moan about the policies being bad, but it not being in the manifesto seemed to have, like, missed the journalists.
Did I just turn myself up? I don't think so.
It's weird. It is significantly louder now.
Oh, apologies. I've turned myself down. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Apologies.
Manifesto. So for that reason alone, I think he should go to the country. But there's another reason, which is I don't think he's ever going to get a better time to win a general election. Because right now, I would say he's in the best possible place for him personally to get a mandate. Because he's not been part of this government which has failed. He's done a pretty good job in Manchester as the mayor. And if you look at the opposition around him, you've got Nigel Farage, I think, is dead in the water. I think this £5 million bung he took from this crypto tycoon in Thailand.
He describes it as a personal gift.
I describe it as a bung. And he took this money.
Oh, God, you're making me agree with fucking Piers Morgan. Oh, no.
That was quite funny, though. It's like, yeah, he'll call it a gift. Well, I'll call it a bung. There you go.
Yeah, again, that's... yeah, fair enough.
Money. He still can't get his story straight about why. Originally it was for personal security, then it was a reward for Brexit. Now he says it's just a gift and he can spend it on Ferraris, like all men of the people would say. I think you can see how rattled he is by the question.
Okay, you know what, I'm going to let him cook. You know what, that's fine. When he's right, he's right.
Not going to go away. Okay. I think he will be found guilty by the Parliament investigation.
We've no idea what the commission
I'm just saying what I think is going to happen.
Sure, fair enough. Okay. I want to come back to the election point. Briefly.
My point is this. So his main opponent, who he's just beaten in this by-election, Reform, I think are in real trouble. I think the leader's going to have to go. I also think Reform and Restore, as we've already seen, are eating each other alive. I think with the Conservatives, Kemi Badenoch is becoming much more popular very quickly, but the party is not.
What are you talking about?
In SW1 circles, right? Spectator Garden Party every time.
Yeah, she's become marginally less hated than she previously had been. That's it.
So right now, if you're Andy Burnham...
Sorry, he. Apologies, I don't want to misgender.
I would say, snap election, you're a fresh pair of eyes, running with a fresh vision. Tell us what the vision is, let the public vote, and then you might get a 5-year mandate to deliver.
Okay. A reformer on the programme next week.
Also, it's worth pointing out as well, like, the biggest reason why you should want to have a snap election, right, is that, conditions are slowly improving with wages outpacing inflation. And in just a couple of minutes, right, there's going to be a giant, massive inflationary shock, cost of living crisis part 2, electric boogaloo fucking mega style, because of the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. There's going to be there's an insane, apocalyptic energy shock right round the corner. And people, the Tories were tossed out because of the cost of living crisis part 1. A second worse one, and Andy Burnham will be the most hated man in the country, no matter how northern he is.
True, you can't northern your way out of people literally starving.
Yeah, and people will starve. There will be food shortages, right? First, stuff that's necessary for fertilization and for farming all comes through the Strait of Hormuz. Most of it's come from Qatar. All of the fuel which is used in all of the fucking agricultural machines that's used to be able to make the food, all of that's going to be more expensive, right? It's not prepared. No one's prepared for this.
True, but the problem is, of course. Reform are still in the lead in the polls, or in most of the polls.
That is true.
So, unless he gets a significant bounce when he becomes Prime Minister, like Gordon Brown did, if you remember that, and people said, "Oh, he should go early," and he didn't, and it was probably a mistake. But if you go early and you fuck it up, like Theresa May, you look even worse. So, I can understand if he didn't.
Double-edged sword in him.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
I have no idea who it will be.
Well, he keeps saying no to this show, doesn't he?
Sharon White. If there was a general election, how would that affect the country?
Well, I look at this from a business perspective. Yes. So at the moment, you're looking at the situation and the turbulence and volatility, and you're deciding: do you create more jobs? Do you invest in another factory? Do you invest in new technology? So all the uncertainty is actually incredibly negative and incredibly damaging, actually, for the very things we want, which is an improvement in everybody's living standards. So my own view, actually, from a...
Oh yeah, businesses definitely want that. They're definitely really interested in that and not just making profit.
Well, at the very least, with John Lewis, it's a cooperative, so the members at least have an interest.
Well, yeah, but that's not representative of companies more broadly.
True.
Simply a kind of very practical point of view, is that the sooner we get through this transition, the better. The sooner businesses up and down the country know what we're dealing with in terms of the policy and personalities, the better. So personally, I'm not in favour of the 3, 4, 6 months that will take for a general election. And then I do think we have to come back for the opportunity to have a much more...
Why would it take 3, 4 or 6 months to do that? If you call a snap general election, it's 6 weeks. That's a month and a half. Look, it would be done by the summer wouldn't be over.
Which again would be ideal, because that means that energy would be less used because people aren't heating their homes, right?
Literally.
Well, if we're using fans the whole time, maybe we will.
Open and honest conversation as a country.
About what specifically? Who's being dishonest about what subject?
It's about the choices. We'll come on to this a little bit in terms of defence. So we have got the highest debt, the highest sort of overdraft, if you like, across any of the developed countries.
Oh my
when we
fucking
talk about
God.
And the highest borrowing costs in the
G7. Don't have an overdraft. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, it's not actually a family. We're not a real, we issue the currency.
Give me fucking strength.
So the amount that we are paying simply to service our debt is twice as much that we're spending on defence and about as much as we're spending on education. And so a country which decides, do we spend less on, you know, our older people to give more to our younger people? Do we spend more on transport and housing so we can invest for the future?
There are 6.5 million people in this country.
But that's, that's a choice we have to make.
Sitting at home on benefits, right, of which nearly a million now.
Sitting at home on benefits. Honestly, Piers Morgan, when you die, I will masturbate.
And again, like there are plenty of people sitting at home on benefits. Yeah, they're called pensioners.
Yeah.
And they should be sitting at home and they should be given welfare. That's fine, but that's where most of the money's going.
Yep. Or indeed the monarchy that he desperately loves as well.
Yes, true. He never talks about like the actual welfare, actual queen. Miss Dead.
Our younger people suffering from anxiety.
All right, Tross.
And we're spending billions to send people with anxiety back to their homes, where it'll clearly make their anxiety, I'd imagine, a lot worse. This is completely broken.
Oh, whoa! I didn't realise Piers Morgan had an occupational therapy degree.
I assume it'll make it worse, and therefore my assumption matters.
Literally, it's how I assume this. Oh, you assume, do you? Well, until you actually have any expertise in this field, I suggest, Piers, you shut the fuck up.
Yeah. To assume Piers makes an ass out of you and me. But mostly you, to be fair.
Get these people back to work. Let's help them. Let's help them to get mentally stronger and able to function.
PIP is not a benefit with their work requirements. People who are in work can and do and are a significant number of people who claim PIP.
Yeah.
Shut up, Piers.
In the real world.
Go ahead, John Thomas.
Can I just give a you know, you're talking about the issues, Piers, and obviously Sharon as well, and I agree there are a lot of issues, but I think that's exactly why we don't want to plunge ourselves into another general election, and I do think there's somewhat of a fatigue.
Do you like Kings running the country?
Well, I think we have to look at what people want.
Well, you do.
Yeah, you're an absolute fucking gobbler for sausage fingers, sausage dick, clearly.
And that's what matters, and I think that's what the Labour Party are doing exactly now. I think
I can't believe they'd allow an ill-informed YouTuber on this show. It's tragic.
Want to get on, like I said earlier, with governing, but also I think it's an opportunity for the country to be able to see what Andy can deliver. If he is the Prime Minister, there's an opportunity
Why doesn't
there.
he tell us what he's going to deliver, and then we
well,
can decide as a country
Andy's going to
if
talk
we
about
want him running the country. He's going to
talk about that tomorrow, and if you did follow him on the campaign trail, he did set out that speech after...
Piers, everyone let you fucking spout your ill-informed shite unopposed. Let someone else talk. For fuck's sake.
Speech after speech, what his vision was. People haven't voted for Andy for no reason. They've listened to what he said in Makerfield, and they believe that, and they feel that they can trust him.
A few thousand people have voted for Andy in Makerfield.
That's exactly right.
There are 67 million people in this country.
Why, if he becomes Prime Minister, there's an opportunity for Andy to prove himself in that role before there's a general election, because we do need to get on with the things that matter to people. Okay. That's so important.
None of you said this when the Tories were doing this, by the way.
Well, I'll talk about that if I get the opportunity. I'll make some comments around that.
Who should be Chancellor?
Well, not Ed Miliband with his...
Why not?
John McDonnell. Because...
do it, Andy. Make us proud.
Because Corbyn should have been Prime Minister anyway, so...
True.
Zero obsession. I mean, this would bankrupt the country.
Why do you say that?
Because it's just not economically viable. If you go full net zero at the speed that he's wanted the country to go at...
Oh, why are they letting this fucking ill-informed cunt talk?
It's malpractice. This is the public broadcaster, right? The money that should be going to public services is used to invite this man on and pay him money to be, essentially a disinformation. Like, this isn't misinformation. This isn't him getting something wrong because he is misinformed or something himself. No, he's deliberately lying. Still lying, literally lying to his audience. Will someone please enlighten Piers, the literally lying son? What a fucking piece of shit, dude. He's deliberately saying his bullshit to undermine stuff because, of course, he's previously been the pay of Rupert fucking Murdoch.
And, of course, is Donald Trump's little cum sponge as well.
True.
Yeah. It's good that he actually took Donald Trump's dick out of his mouth for 5 seconds to come on the show. That's good.
He's going to bankrupt the country. There has to be a far more pragmatic...
And that's based on what, you assuming some shit again, Piers? Definitely? cool.
Policy. I actually agree with Donald Trump. We have the
No! Really? You agree with Donald Trump about something? Well, it must be a day that ends in Y, you cock.
North Sea sitting there, right? We should be getting resource out of that, and we should be building up the move to green energy in a slower, more considered way, which is more balanced. And
do you also agree with Donald Trump that I love the inflation? Because that's a thing he said. Do you also agree with Donald Trump that actually child rapists are fine and you can be best friends with them for many years, Piers? Is that a thing? No? Okay.
More pragmatic. If Ed Miliband is sitting there as the net zero zealot, trust me, Andy Burnham, the king, will not have any money to do anything.
Sharon White.
So again,
It's not true. Again, like, why is he allowed to speak about this shit?
Absolute rubbish, yeah. Just I mean, literally right-wing bollocks.
Right-wing bollocks.
Personality. Are we going to have stability, consistency, and a chancellor with a prime minister working side by side together to have the honest conversation about these big choices and big
would Ed
trade-offs?
Miliband be that person in your view?
It's not about personalities for me, it's the honesty of the conversation. We can't afford to spend everything on everything.
I couldn't agree more. I think whoever the Chancellor is a matter for the Prime Minister. And again, I think we have to take the people out of the equation. It's about what policies they have. They have to share the vision of what the Prime Minister has, if indeed that's Andy, and they need to work really closely together to give, you know, like I say, an economy that delivers for workers. That should be the hugest priority, because people don't feel that they're better off, and I think that's one of the reasons that Labour lost in the local elections, and that needs to be the #1 priority for the Prime Minister, delivering for people.
You know what should be the #1 priority for everyone in chat? Giving us money in the form of bits and subs.
That's true. You can give bits, subs, and memberships, and gifties, and super chats.
These are things, chat. These are things.
People. Back with you shortly. Now, one of the biggest headaches for the new Prime Minister will be defence spending. So Keir Starmer has committed to meeting NATO's new target of spending 3.5% of the nation's wealth on defence by 2035. So far, he's been...
I just want to point out it's literally fucking insane that NATO is saying 3.5% of GDP on defence.
Well,
genuinely.
Fuck it, let's go. Fuck it, they're just going to keep raising it. 5%, 20%, fuck it. Ridiculous. And because everyone's such a fucking cuck, they're just like, yeah, we'll do that.
Unable to show how he will come up with the cash. His Defence Secretary John Healey resigned earlier this month, as you know, saying the PM was unable and the Treasury unwilling to commit the resources needed to keep the country safe. We're expecting the defence investment plan to be published next week, and we'll know what extra funding the Ministry...
Okay, describing it as NATO Duce is very funny. Thank you. Yeah, okay.
...of defence will get. Laura's been talking to the former Chief of the Defence Staff, Admiral Sir Tony Radakin, who served under 4 different Prime Ministers.
Prime Minister Keir Starmer.
Wow, I wonder if this person is like, I don't know, has skin in the game at all, and that you shouldn't really invite him to discuss this as some sort of neutral observer of the situation. Maybe. Just a thought. Like, if they had a trade union leader on that said, we should pay workers more, do we think they'd just go, so, where are you finding the money to pay more workers from? To the government minister?
Don't you think workers are paid enough?
Yeah, exactly. Magic money tree, bitch.
Last year at the Hague summit, the big NATO summit, agreed with virtually all of the NATO allies, it was only Spain that demurred, that we will raise defence spending to 3.5% of GDP by 2035. That's really important because of the threats that we face as an alliance. It's a commitment that the Prime Minister made, and we have to fulfil that commitment.
Are you surprised that Keir Starmer might still publish that plan before there is a handover of...
Yeah, what massive threats are these exactly? Like, Russia is the paperest paper tiger there has ever been.
I mean, the fact they're still like fucking knee deep in the Dnipro River after all of these years now, like, should tell you about how papery that tiger really is.
Yeah.
Thank you for the 5 gifts.
But they're like, no, we should be really scared. It can growl. Paper tiger.
power. And we know that people in the Ministry of Defence, with John Healey's resignation, felt very strongly that the money was simply not enough. So should Keir Starmer wait and leave that as a decision for Andy Burnham?
So I don't want to get into the tactics of whether or not this...
Also, when was this interview done? Because Why is Koonsberg suddenly here?
I'm assuming they pre-recorded it like yesterday, and then she had to quit at the last minute or something.
Well, hopefully she has quit forever, yeah. That'd be good.
Prime Minister releases the Defence Investment Plan or leaves it for the next Prime Minister. The crucial piece is that we have a Defence Investment Plan that matches the commitment that was made last year, that we need to spend a bit more on defence because the world is a bit more dangerous, and when we step
A bit
into
more on
the
defence, by the
2030s,
way.
Yeah.
A bit more on defence. So it's worth pointing out, like, they want to get extra, like, whole percent of GDP. A whole that is like that's £10 billion.
Yeah.
Right.
Whereas
And
spending fucking threepence on a school would be considered school communism. Yeah.
Yeah. So by the way, the increase in social housing, right? The one of the biggest problems facing this country, the housing crisis, the lack of social housing, the lack of provision for this stuff. Genuinely one of the biggest problems facing this housing is housing.
Yeah.
They're spending £39 billion over 10 years.
Yeah.
So like £3.9 billion a year
Yeah.
on like social housing. Not nothing. It's good. It's fine that it's happening. I'm not complaining, but they don't want to make the military budget what they'd be spending on housing. No, they want it to increase by double what they're spending on social housing, right? To so it's going to be a significant, like fucking 3 times how much we're spending, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times overall.
we need to be stronger than we currently are. That's the big issue. And
why do we? Can anyone answer that question for me? Why do we need to be
I
that
wonder,
much stronger
chat.
than we are now?
I wonder, chat, if Laura Koonsberg will even bother contemplating questioning the received wisdom that actually all this defence funding is incredibly necessary. I wonder if he'll ask him why we have to do this, rather than just accept that we have to and then discuss the terrain.
Yeah.
And whether it's this Prime Minister or the next Prime Minister, if we get an announcement of additional money, well, we should always welcome that. But if it's not enough, then it may be that the new Prime Minister is going to have to find that money as part of the course of this Parliament.
And at the moment, though, the United Kingdom is almost at the bottom of the list when it comes to the share of national income that is spent on defence. If you look at the NATO figures, we're at 31st out of 32. So what message does
Rookie numbers, we can get to 33rd.
Let's fucking
I
go.
believe in us.
that send?
So that is unprecedented. That is a very unusual position for the UK to be in. That needs to be resolved. We need to play our part. We need to keep the UK safe. We need to keep our alliance partners safe.
And what's the risk if we don't?
Well, I think the risk is that we know
Saddam Hussein's going to come back from the grave and kill us all.
45 minutes, chat. 45 minutes, right? Ooh, be scared.
that America is frustrated with Europe and wants Europe to take more responsibility for its security.
Yeah, that's the joke. Oh, 33rd out of 32. That's the joke, chat. Oh, you fucking nerds.
I love how they're buying into this shit, by the way. It's genuinely incredibly dumb to go, well, America say that Europe isn't pulling its weight. I mean, Europe is pulling its weight because there's a lot of defense spending happening in Europe, significantly so. It can defend and could defend itself, and we're showing it defending itself in Ukraine. And America isn't a massive international superpower with military bases all across Europe out of fucking benevolence.
Yeah.
Do you think that America maintains a military stranglehold on Europe in terms of where it places its troops and where it has interests out of the goodness of its heart? Or do you maybe not think that that's the whole fucking point of keeping these countries like servile to the United States for geostrategic reasons, for economic reasons, but for sphere of influence reasons, right?
Yeah.
The idea that this is being done just totally benevolently by the United States rather than strategically is so fucking dumb.
Yeah, NATO is an American imperialist vehicle. Yeah.
I think most people understand that and agree with that. And with a transactional...
Literally, it's like a who's who of war criminals. It's lovely, isn't
God,
it?
really, it's all of them.
Yeah.
President in America, the risk is...
If I speak, I will be in trouble. So I will not speak.
That gets into a very awkward conversation as to why the UK isn't playing its part and whether or not America is then provoked to take a tougher line with the United Kingdom.
As things stand, though,
Let's
would
fucking
the
stand
UK
up to
be
them then.
capable of
Stop being a
fighting and
fucking talk boy
sustaining
bitch.
a conflict of high intensity? And if you think, for example, of what happened in Iran with the Straits of Hormuz, that conflict happening, you know, there was a ship got stuck in the dock for weeks while other countries moved much more quickly.
Yeah, and I would agree with lots of that. We've been very clear in saying that we need to strengthen our armed forces. It means additional money for day-to-day operations. That is stores, that is maintenance. That's how you get those ships out. That's how that your aircraft are available for operations. That's how your tanks and armoured fighting vehicles are available.
Yeah, thankfully our aircraft are available for the service of Israel. So that's phew. Thank God.
I mean, they're not even anymore. We're using private contractors now.
Well, our planes with an asterisk next to it, you know?
Yeah.
A hired car is still a car we have, so for the time being.
Available. All of that at the moment is too bare, and that's why we need this increased investment as well as some of the other big programs. And we also need to modernise because warfare changes, and you've seen that with the abundance of drones and with long-range missiles that are much cheaper than they were 5 years ago.
In terms then of your...
If they're much cheaper, why do you need more money? Like, shouldn't it be cheaper?
It's almost like they were trying to spend us policing the world rather than defending Europe.
Yeah. Because I don't know about you, but defending the Chagos Islands doesn't seem like a good use of our tax money. Really. Like, why do we even have a base there?
Message, if you could boil it down for the incoming Prime Minister, which everybody expects to be Andy Burnham, if you had one line of advice for the incoming Prime Minister, what would it be?
Spend money, kill, bomb brown people. Yay! I've shrunk it down, but that's basically the gist.
It is keep our country safe, acknowledge that you have this extraordinary responsibility, so you're almost like a wartime Prime Minister.
Almost.
And that means you need to invest in what really keeps us safe. So as well as having the
But doing genocides. That's what keeps us safe. Apparently.
The bulwark in the Middle East that we must support, no matter how many children they deliberately murder for settler colonial reasons.
Because when he said we need to invest to protect the country, that country, of course, was Israel.
A field test, I would say it's the Moscow test. So what do we look like to...
Why don't you fuck off to Moscow and do a test, you cunt? Test that polonium tea out. Hey, hello, a couple of Burks. Everyone go and follow a couple of Burks. Welsh legends.
Moscow, do we look like a strong member of the NATO alliance? Do we look like a strong nuclear power? Do we look like a strong ally of America? Because those are the elements that keep us safe.
And a risk at the moment that we don't?
There's a risk.
Given that America was threatening to invade a NATO ally's territory, are they the ones keeping us safe? Because they're using listening bases that we rent to them at Peppercorn Rent to spy on our citizens.
And also, being a member of NATO has made people less safe because of America's belligerence overseas. Yeah. We would not have had missiles fired at us were we not on the same team as the people attacking Iran, right? The reason why Akrotiri got attacked by Hezbollah and why Diego Garcia got attacked is because these are bases that we share with an insane fucking monster in America that's continually engaging in belligerent actions in the Middle East.
Yeah. We're literally it's like Dr. Hyde and Mr. Jekyll. In the we've chained ourselves to the madman, but we're going, it's actually good, and we should give the madman more money because it's positive. The madman keeps us safe. It's breathtaking, really.
Risk at the moment that we fall short on those commitments, and then that creates a whole load of hurt with our NATO allies and especially our relationship with America.
Sir Tony Radakin, thank you very much indeed for speaking to us.
Thank you.
Again, not a single question of like whether it's necessary or what the threats are. No, just agreeing. Yeah, no, we do need to spend more. Awesome. Thanks for the journalism there.
Next, a party replacing their leader and Prime Minister mid-term has happened 5 times in the past 20 years. Gordon Brown, Theresa May, Boris Johnson, Liz Truss and Rishi Sunak. Usually, when this happens, the opposition parties call for an immediate general election. Reform's Nigel Farage has called for a snap election right now. The Conservatives haven't quite. The Shadow Housing Secretary, Sir James Cleverly, is here this morning. Hello to you. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Why aren't the Tories calling for a general election
It really does look like he's wearing no trousers. I'm sorry. It's just fucking weird. Or he's wearing tights, maybe some sheer tights. I don't know.
It's all a little bit Robin Hood, isn't it?
It's Like I know it's hot, mate, but fucking hell, a pair of shorts wouldn't kill you. Jesus.
Well, what we want is what Tony Radakin has just asked for, which is the government right now to do what it needs to fund our armed forces. And Kemi's been absolutely clear that this should be the priority of a government.
Over calling a general election?
Well, a general election would be a delay. It would cause more uncertainty. Now, look, if we have to fight one, we will be ready. We'll get the candidates ready. We've got the money. Our donations are in a very, very good place.
But you're not calling for one.
But we're not, because ultimately what we...
I bet you've got loads of petrochemical companies lining up to donate to have more oil and gas licenses in the North Sea.
Yeah, absolutely.
You've said, and to be fair, I, of course, did...
And that's actually the problem with Andy Burnham, is that the Labour Party is broke. It has no money. Like, it has no members. It's got no...
Got no fans.
Yeah.
Didn't call for one when we changed leaders mid-term. But the point is...
not surprising when you're in government, I suppose.
But there's a job of work to be done, and the government should get on with that.
Job of work to be done. That is, and people should get on with it. But can I just be clear? You must think Kemi Badenoch would be a better Prime Minister
than... yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
So I don't understand then why you're not calling for a snap election.
Because, look...
Because they can't even get their fucking deposit back in most places. Is why.
They're fucking wiped out,
Because it's very possible they would lose to Count Binface or some shit. That's why.
No, they'll become a Scottish party, right? That's what would happen. They would become a Scottish... They would become... The Conservative and Unionist Party would be like the entire party.
Literally, like, you can see a situation where Labour get wiped out in Scotland and Tories only exist in Scotland, which would just be really fucking weird. But there we go. It could happen, chat. It could happen.
Because you would want to replace whoever is...
There is no certainty of the outcome of general elections.
Right, so it's about the polls then?
Well, look, it would be... I've just watched Steve Reed give completely nonsensical answers. Of course, we want to make sure that if we replace this Labour of government...
So this government are destroying the country, but we don't want to replace them just now, actually. We'll wait for a bit or something, because reasons.
Government, it's replaced with Kemi Badenoch at the head of a Conservative government, not Nigel Farage with Reform, where there is no plan, there is no credibility. He struggled to get one decent candidate for a Makerfield by-election. The idea he's going to get 300, 400, 500 decent candidates for a general election is just nonsense.
No, I could definitely find 500 people who want to rim Carol Vorderman. Definitely. I reckon I could stump up that many people. Definitely.
So we're being honest in a way that I don't think Reform are. What we want is for the government to do the right thing, which is, and we have said, Kemi has said, we will work with the government to help them reduce the welfare bill. Piers is absolutely right. It has got ridiculously out of hand in the last couple of years, and divert some of that money to defence, which we need now.
Okay.
Oh, apologies, Jeff. For some reason, my alert box isn't working. Thank you. Kev, has Laura asked an actual question that hasn't been tell me more? But basically, no, that was your entire shtick, wasn't it?
Yeah. He was treated like he was treated like an expert on defence, on like how defence works, which would be perfectly reasonable. That is the thing he's an expert on. But what he's not an expert on is macroeconomics, the state of the government budgets, or indeed what the democratic will of the people is. No, you're not an expert. You can't be treated like somebody who can give entirely fucking all-encompassing answers on these things, because they're questions with political answers, which are your opinion. And if it's their opinions, they should be challenged, and they weren't challenged.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she wasn't asking about operational matters in which he is an expert, or at least is experienced. No, she was asking, like you say, about the percentage of GDP that should be spent in government departments, which is a little bit beyond the scope of his experience, I think.
Yep.
Thank you, Dingus.
And of course, of course, as somebody who would benefit from more spending, he said, "Please spend more." Of course, he did.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's got skin in the game.
Kemi Badenoch has been criticised this week, as you know, for the way she described the Education Secretary, Bridget Phillipson, in PMQs. Let's just have a quick look.
So thank you, Vicky, for the £5.
Any
Who says
minute
that
now.
on the plus side, Barry Weiss seems to be hiring all the UK's top talent for her media station, so we'll see less of them. Thank fucking Christ for that.
Yeah. And Zatayo have just opened up in the UK, so the media landscape is better. Albeit, I don't expect you to mention that because that is competition, I suppose. But,
It turns out appointing a spiteful class warrior as Education Secretary was a disaster.
A spiteful class warrior as opposed to a fucking brain-rotted culture warrior.
I mean, that's what she would want. Like, she cares far more about Doctor Who than she cares about education. Although it is funny that again, what's she done? She's slightly taxed the very extortionate fees that private schools charge, as if that's like that makes her like a Marxist-Leninist,
yes.
like vanguardist. Oh,
Yeah.
sure, okay, well, we believe you, Kemi. Yeah. That's class war.
And then she later reiterated that she thought Bridget Phillipson was like the Gestapo, and that's what I want to...
I mean, if there's one minister who probably isn't like the Gestapo, Bridget
Yeah.
Phillipson is like not the one. I mean, unless she's Gestapoing for your genital inspection in your toilet, then she definitely is the Gestapo. No, because clearly that remit relies with like Yvette Cooper and Shabana Mahmood for the stupid fucking insane panopticon shit.
Yeah. But at least Kenneth is going down swinging.
Also, thank you, Luna Elise, for the £5. As a percentage of GDP, welfare spend is lower now than under David Cameron. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills listening to these people. Yep, literally 100%.
to ask you about that bit. The Gestapo, the Nazi secret police. What does she mean when she says Bridget Phillipson is like the Gestapo?
I'm such a nerd, I can even tell you what Gestapo means. What
does it mean?
It's a hybrid. It comes from the three words Geheime Staatspolizei. It's the first.
Well, there you go.
It's the first, which means secret state police. It was invented by a man who worked in an office and nothing more. He just went, that'll do as a name, and put it on the thing. I am a nerd, chat. Scream at me.
Well, I can't remember the context specifically of the quote, but the point is Bridget Phillipson has pursued an agenda which has nothing to do with raising money, nothing to do with recruiting teachers.
Well, it clearly is to do with raising money. It's ending a tax break, so it's raising money. What?
It's about punishing people who spend their own money to send their children to.
Does that make her like the Gestapo?
Well,
yeah. Also, what about this meritocracy we were told about? Apparently, you can just buy your way through the meritocracy, though, so it's fine.
Yeah, literally. That's because they never believed in it.
No.
I mean, meritocracy itself was a nonsense phrase made to mock people who believe that everyone can have equal opportunity. We know that it can't in an unequal society. They just like that it's unequal. They don't believe in equality of opportunity. They believe in dynasticism. They believe in being able to inherit titles and wealth and social standing and everyone being in their rightful place. It just happens to be that the society they believe their rightful place should be in is the one that happens to also benefit them. It's classic Burkeanism.
Well, as I say, I can't remember the context. I mean, you showed.
But would you have used?
You can't remember the context. Well, maybe it was all the Bridget Phillipsons pulling out fingernails or disappearing political opponents. Because when you say Gestapo, that's a very, very defined thing.
Has she moved to DEFRA and liquidated some kulaks? Maybe.
Yeah.
That comparison.
No, I probably wouldn't have done. But again, without being reminded of what the context of that quote was.
I can remind you if you like.
But the point,
I'll remind you if you like. Let me remind you, if I may,
well.
and our audience. I compared, this is Kemi Badenoch's explanation of the comparison. I compared her to a Gestapo officer, acting like a Gestapo officer with the way she was closing down those schools, which didn't appeal to her own ideology.
The Gestapo
She's not
didn't-
closing down the schools. The schools closed down because they can't afford to operate, because private school attendance has been declining even before they changed the tax rules on these things, right? They closed down because they're private businesses that can't operate. Maybe if they had, these fucking 700-year-old private schools can't operate with slightly smaller margins, maybe they should have spent literally any amount of time at that point learning how to run a fucking business, right? Pulled themselves up by their bootstraps. They could cut down on avocado toast, on fucking gilded, embossed note paper that they're costed in disgusting little fucking reprobates who go there write upon. Not my problem. It's a free market, baby. But no. You need little subsidies for yourselves, right?
Also, what does she think the Gestapo did? Do you think they were involved in education? They were a fucking police force, a very dangerous and evil police force. They didn't go around deciding which schools stayed open. The fuck are you talking about? Fucking nonsense.
I mean, is it appropriate to compare someone to the Nazi secret police just because you disagree with their policy?
So that wouldn't have been the phraseology that I used, but you can see Kemi's explanation there. But the point is, and this
nonsense.
I think is a really important point, minutes before that clip, Bridget Phillipson accused the Conservative Shadow Justice Secretary of being a racist.
Just because he is.
I mean, yeah, like the shit that he comes out with is like Nazi era shit. It's genuinely insane that this man is still on the front bench for a party led by black women. But of course, the target is Muslims, so who cares, right?
Yep. Angela Rayner has accused Conservatives of being scum.
You are scum.
Yeah.
She was right. I wish she was more forthright now. I wish she'd stop toning that shit down.
Traditionally, by the Labour Party, described as lower than vermin. And so,
yeah, true. Nye Bevan. Yeah, posting a Labour Party W is not a good one for you, mate. Just saying.
And the fact, I mean, you literally started off this whole fucking spiel when you were discussing the state of the country, saying we want to work with the government to murder the disabled. Yeah, like you are scum. You're vermin. You're literally lower than fucking pond life. I wouldn't piss on you if you're on fire, James.
Can I just say, as a person who lives around many noble vermin, the giant rats of Birmingham, you're doing them dirty right now, because they're good, honourable, tax-paying, law-abiding citizens.
Well, thank you, Vicky, for the £10. Not joking here. In Bristol, loads of private schools changed into academies, as normal schools are getting better and privates were losing students, and that was like 10 years ago. And that was after education budget cuts. Imagine how much better the state schools are going to be when they get more money.
Yep.
So,
Lorraine did apologise for that.
But to be fair, Victoria, when Kemi highlights the fact that these policies are vindictive and they are about class war rather than recruiting teachers, she gets vilified by the Labour Party. And when people on the Labour Party, literally minutes earlier, describe a Conservative MP as being racist...
Because they are.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
No one seems to bat an eyelid. It's a real one-way valve on here, and I think the hypocrisy on the Labour
Well, there was a lot of
benches-
criticism of Angela Rayner when she described the Conservatives as scum, and she
But
apologised
literally
for that.
Yeah, and she shouldn't have.
No.
4 minutes before that clip, Bridget Phillipson described Nick Timothy as racist.
Because he is.
The speaker on that day, on Wednesday, called for decorum and respect. Opening the Scottish Parliament yesterday, the King actually said, let us continue to show that debate can be carried out with respect and courtesy, that disagreement is possible while honouring one another's dignity.
Well, maybe don't have your ex-wife murdered then. Just saying.
Maybe we should have had Dodie Fire debated in the marketplace of ideas.
Exactly. You should have debated Dodie Al-Fayed about him blowing out your ex-wife's back. Yeah.
in the tunnel of ideas.
Oh, he defeated him in the crumple zone of ideas. Oh, no. And this is why I can never stand for office, chat. Someone said last night you should stand for the Green Party. I was like, have you heard any of my fucking content ever? No.
That was incredible, Kevin.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Is he right?
Yeah, I've always felt that to be the case. But also, we have a robust democracy. I think one of the dangers in a desire to be collegiate and calm is the voters think that we are not holding each other to account. So I do think we need to be robust. And I do think when we see people, particularly secretaries of state, particularly the government, doing things not for the good of the country, but to scratch a party political itch, I think it's absolutely right that we call it out.
Thank you very much for being with us this morning. Thank you, Sir James Cleverly of the Conservatives.
What's this? Hang on. Thank you for the bits. Unionist fume as anti-monarchy poem read to King Charles. Did that really happen? Okay. Charles was giving a speech, blah-de-blah. As part of the opening ceremony, the National Theatre of Scotland read a short poem after the King's speech where they outlined the British Empire's colonial history. Okay. One actor said, "Oh, you mean plantations?" The second actor said, "No, not that side of history, the other side of history." "Oh, right, the racism." "Yeah, no, not that side of history, the other side of history." Well, maybe, chat, if the British Empire hadn't done all of those things that are really, really bad, it wouldn't have to be pointed out to the head of the British Empire that those are really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Loads of you have been in touch. Let's read some of your emails. Arthur Duval emailed to say Labour are clutching at straws, hoping that bringing in a personality will change the country's fortunes. Tom Moore said Burnham played no part in compiling the manifesto or fighting and winning a landslide election result. A general election is an absolute...
Yeah, but you know who did? Lord fucking Yum Yum. So, you know, maybe wind your neck in.
If not, this marks the end of the Labour Party. Bunny Loveridge says Starmer is a cool hand on the tiller, so ridiculous to get rid of him for a fair weather
incredible name.
It is, but unfortunately it does appear they're an absolute melter.
Yeah.
Mark Van disagreed with that, saying Mr Burnham has a charisma that will probably go down well even on the world stage.
It's also just like, it's not just stupid, it's like a total inversion of reality, right?
Yeah.
Saying like Keir Starmer is a steady hand on the tiller as the Labour Party fucking collapses into its worst polling ever in history. You know, thousands of council elections lost, insane policies people hate, and the appointment of Lord Yum Yum. That's not a steady hand at the tiller. And Andy Burnham, whatever you can call him, and you can call, there are plenty of people who dislike him for loads of different reasons, you know. But one thing you can't call him is a novice. He was a minister in the Blair administration, has been a politician for multiple decades, was a very well liked and well respected and popular mayor of Greater Manchester, also a very high profile political role, who's now coming back into office and clearly commands the respect of the Parliamentary Labour Party. The idea that he's a fucking fair weather novice is just not true. He's not a novice. You can think his policies are bad. They definitely were when he was a government minister. But the idea that therefore it makes him like a green, you know, green in like the military sense, right? That obviously not.
Vicky with a very good one. Zach Polanski's interview of William Dalrymple was very interesting. Genuinely true. Firstly, that was after, of course, his most famous interview, which was No Justice MTG. It was
So
a big
true. I got
get
that first
for Polanski.
William.
Yeah. But William
Second
Dalrymple,
interview.
you should definitely look into. Fantastic historian. Read several of his books. I would argue the book called The Anarchy, which was written about the British East India Corporation, or British East India Company, I should say, and its role in British imperialism on the subcontinent is genuinely fantastic, and you should all read it immediately if you want to know the truth about how, you know, maybe you've been told some lies about how great everything was. It was not.
There is no one else with gumption who can save them from reform. Sharon White, why do you think this country is heading for its seventh Prime Minister in 10 years?
I would put it to you, Kevin.
Yes.
That I don't care about any of these people's opinions.
I agree, actually. I agree wholeheartedly, especially at midnight. Yeah. Anyway. Yes. Everyone go follow No Justice MTG on all the platforms.
Please go and follow it's at Careful175 over on Twitch and at Ploppy111 over on the YouTubes. Just search Kevin Logan, it'll come up. Do it. That's an order. There's 300 of you.
If the only reason I would ever want to become a partner on Twitch is so that I can get Kevin Logan the name.
Yeah.
Because at the moment it's just a dead channel that no one uses. That's called Kevin Logan, and I've fucking tried to message them, and they just don't get back to you. So anyway, very annoying. Okay.
If you've done a thing like Kevin Logan 1.
Well, that would be easier, but I just went with Kevin Logan 1875 because it's the year my football team was founded. And I thought that'll be fine, not realising, oh, no one will ever remember this. This is terrible branding. Well done. Anyway.
I mean, there's one thing that does work. Everyone knows me as No Justice MTG, and my handle on everything is at No Justice MTG, making it excellent branding.
And that is, of course, your actual name.
It's true. It's true. I am Helena No Justice MTG, all one word.
You are one of the Surrey No Justice MTGs. Yeah.
But it's funny how I always have to be introduced as Helena, aka No Justice MTG on Novara, rather than what I would be used to be just call myself by my YouTube name, right? Like no one says like, "Hi, I'm Stephen Destiny Bonnell II, aka Destiny."
It's true. They just say, "Oh,
sorry, Sex Pestiny."
Yeah, that was about to say that guy that's in court for all those sex crimes, maybe allegedly.
Yeah.
You know. Anyway, yes, free Palestine in that.
Free Palestine from the river to the sea. Apparently free Kobe Minu as well. People are saying in chat. Don't know why.
Yeah, that's a bit of a weird call. But anyway. Bye.
Goodbye.